Let's see. Oh, shit. First time my headset ever goes on me. Oh, yep. Give me 1 sec. I gotta plug my headset in while I'm using it. There we go. I don't know. Probably none yet. It just started. Sure. And just to clarify, you don't think that there was like an actual figure named Jesus Christ, regardless of if he was like you believe that the Bible is a work of fiction and that Jesus Christ is a fictional character, but there's still moral teachings that are worth following. Sure. Well, I guess I was just I mean, I don't think anybody would argue against the fact that like fictional characters can have a major impact on society or the way that we, view the world and interact with people. I think that's like I think almost everybody would agree with that statement, right? Like you can just look at like Bugs Bunny has had a dramatic impact on the lives of millions of people. Yeah. So hang on 1 sec. I think I have to go to Discord real quick and change my audio settings. Yep. So I cannot hear you at the moment. There we go. My headset went offline when I switched it over to being plugged in. Apologize, bear with me. Heck. I'm very sorry, I still can't hear you. This is paired. Okay, here we go. I think I have a solution. I'll just plug it into a charging brick rather than my PC. And we should be I appreciate your patience. Nope, appears that's not going to work either. All right, I'll just grab the other headset then. While that one's charging.
Powering off. Powering on. Mic on. Mic off.
Okay. Say words. Let's see. Oh, no, that's not. Oh, I see. Okay. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me, bud? I cannot hear you. Check this again. Check your sound settings. I'm gonna try that. Join call. Okay, how about now?
Yeah, I can.
There we go.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
My headset never dies. It has like a 30-hour chart on it, but I guess I went real hard last night and I didn't charge it up.
No worries. No worries. It happens to all of us. Anyways, I think we should, since I've explained who I am, and I think you should be the one to start off the debate.
Sure. So
subjective.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I guess the question is why do you believe in subjective morality as opposed to objective morality?
So, for starters, I'll say that I don't think that objective morality can exist without there being like a God delivering like the morality. Objective morality has to come from somewhere. It can't just. I don't see any like logically consistent way to explain that that objective morality just simply exists by virtue of existing. I think we have to take everything based off of some sort of axiomatic faith. And if we accept certain axioms, I don't know how without an axiom by definition is something we have to accept without justification. And I don't see any of those that would necessarily lead me to a universal moral code. It seems like most people's morals are reflective of their preferences. And even in my own personal morality, I feel like everything's really, really subjective, and it always comes down to these nuanced things. And I don't think that there's any one set structure of morality that could answer all of life's complicated issues.
Okay. So here is why I believe in objective morality. I think the question that needs to be answered is, what is morality? And that is a code of values to guide people's choices and actions. And the central tenet of all moral systems is life. Particularly your life is the highest standard of value, and others are second. For the needing of God to be objective morality is unnecessary, because we have problems that have been presented by Plato, such as the Euthyphro argument, which is that is it good because God commanded it, or God commanded it because it's good? if it's that case, then objective morality doesn't necessarily come from a god. It is something that is intrinsic, and that is something that we evolve. It's an evolved characteristic, and it's so. Why should we have a morality? We have this morality. We evolved it because it allows for stability, security, it extinguishes harm, and fosters trust and facilitates cooperation. It serves as a function to human interests, as a practical enterprise. The extent to which I think disagreement on morality is very exaggerated. There are certain norms that all moral systems accept, or else we couldn't live together, like not killing, not stealing, inflicting pain gratuitously, telling the truth, commitment, being kind, and so forth.
Okay.
And now I'm going to go into why morality in ancient books is, such as the Bible, is not merely a subjective morality that I hold, but it is part of the objective morality, but just codified and preserved in a piece of literature, and
Okay.
it preserves norms and beliefs that make society flourish. They explain value.
I guess before you go further, I just want to ask you. I have a couple things to unpack with what you said. Do you want me to let you finish? Like, do you want me to let you go into that beforehand? I'm taking notes so I can do that, or do you want me to address these things before you go to that?
Well, I would personally like to finish before I
Okay.
answer anything.
Well, I just knew you were going to move on to like the ancient texts and stuff, so that's fine. I'll just keep track, and then we can unpack them after you go through that.
Okay. So these religious books protect these norms and explain value. And people are religious to benefit their life. And different religions, such as the Abrahamic ones, have different paths. Moses had a different path than Jesus. Jesus had a different path from Muhammad. Judaism, what it teaches, is basically following the traditions of the Jews. Christianity follows those traditions and further explains it with Jesus' teachings, and Islam reveres those traditions and Jesus as a teacher, but sees Muhammad as a leader. And the Christian values which I hold to is service, thankfulness, compassion, endurance, creativity, justice, peace, wisdom, hope, and humility. And those have served to benefit my life.
I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I got those right. Peace. So can you go over those values again real quick?
Absolutely.
Yep. I just want to make sure they note
Service.
them down. Yep.
Service, thankfulness, compassion, endurance, creativity, justice, peace, wisdom, hope, humility. Alright, so on to your question.
Okay. So, so the very first one that I have here is that you make the claim that morality is a trait of evolution, and that it's inherent to us. It sounds like, well, for one, like I don't know if that's a justifiable stance, but before I go into that more, it sounds like in a lot of this instances you're basically substituting the word the word morality in place of like just social contract. social contracts seem to be the things that like help us live in a society, like saying, hey, like, I don't want you to steal from me, so I won't steal from you. If I agree not to steal from you, it seems more likely that you won't steal from me. Like, if I don't kill you, it seems, if I promise not to kill you, you promise not to kill me, it seems like we'll have a heck of a lot better time living in this society.
Okay, so to answer that question, I have an example from a Neolithic example, such as somebody needs a tool, and you lend it to him, and he promises to return the tool.
Sure.
Now, there's no laws that enforce this, but it fosters trust and cooperation between these two parties. If you keep the tool, it leads to mistrust, reduced cooperation, and in extreme cases, violence.
Yeah, it seems like we're still describing a social contract. If I steal from you, then now I know that I may be more susceptible to theft myself. So it's probably in my best interest not to steal from other people if I don't want my goods taken.
Morality is, from what I've discovered, is that it's very egoistic, and to have like a morality, you would need to have an ego, and you would need to use this ego very rationally, pursue these values, and to achieve prosperity.
So my issue here is that it seems like all of morality is going to come from like what's going to serve me the best, rather than like presented to me from somewhere else, which is why we have like radically differences in opinions about what morality is, like what's the proper moral system. Because like some people think like it's like for instance like we can go to the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not steal, but like would it be okay to steal to like feed my starving family?
Indeed, I'm glad you brought this question up. Yes, there are some gray areas within morality. However, when it comes to stealing food to feed your family, it's a morally wrong action that does lead to a semi-good outcome. However, I would say a more beneficial and more responsible thing to do would be, instead of stealing, it would be to create value in society and exchange that value for greater value, which would be currency, and use this as a means to buy food to feed your family.
Well, sure.
Instead of resorting to theft.
But what about people that don't have these opportunities? We can't say that there's enough opportunities and enough jobs for everybody to have these opportunities and jobs. Like the numbers just aren't there for that.
I've heard this before.
Like take Sierra Leone for example. Are you familiar with Sierra Leone?
Not particularly.
It's an extremely poor African country. My boss did a lot of work over there for the World Health Organization, doing things with surveillance to help like monitor people getting on medical buses and whatnot. And the poverty levels there are astronomical. They only have electricity for a couple hours a day. They don't have any plumbing. So the majority of these people have absolutely no access to any kind of meaningful employment whatsoever. And even those that do, they don't make enough money to feed themselves and their family, so they still end up resort to stealing from their employers so that they don't die.
This is why Christian morality, Judeo-Christian values are needed more than ever. And in the case of Sierra Leone, I think that those people have fallen away from the path of Jesus, and it is a good thing that we have Christians in our country who value service to be able to give financial and foreign aid to a service like Sierra Leone. And I would say those people are acting very immorally, and as a result, what they should do, and I know you brought up like there's not enough jobs for everyone.
Yeah.
Now, they can try to make jobs for themselves. For the few that don't have jobs, what they should do is they should try to rely on charity as best as possible, or some form of welfare, limited welfare.
That there's no welfare there. The government doesn't care about their people at all, and they just had a big regime change too. So this is going to, like, in the short term at least, it's definitely going to make it even harder for the people.
Okay.
So I guess
So
what I'm
I
saying
don't
is,
know-
like, all these other avenues are exhausted. Like, I mean, just realistically, we have to admit that there's going to be certain scenarios where all these, like, perceived moral good scenarios are going to be exhausted, and all you're left with is either steal or die. It would be moral, like, and for your family too, not just for yourself. Let's even take the self out of the equation. My family, which I have, like, as far as, like, Christian morality would say, I have some sort of duty to provide for them, right?
Okay, so those I think are two different questions. Actually, now that I think about it, it's one question. So yes, you have a duty to provide for them, but you have a duty to do that righteously. And in the Bible, what it says is that whoever shall not work shall not eat, and I do hold to that very strongly.
So children
and
shouldn't eat?
No, they should eat, but the father should work so they can eat.
And if you can't find work, you should, like, what's the ramification if you can't find work despite your best efforts?
If you can't find work despite your best efforts,
Yeah.
for the short term, you should try and rely on charity, and you should try and do some work for those charity organizations, so they shall bestow upon you some bread for a day or two.
We're still
Or-
presupposing
and
opportunity, though.
presupposing opportunity.
Yeah, so like I said, they can't find work, and you're saying, well, they should work for these charities. Like, let's say you can't find work, and the charities just aren't there for you. Like in Sierra Leone, I know that a lot of these people, they're like, there's a lot of like theft by necessity. There isn't a vested interest in helping these people out. Like, so for instance, I don't know if specifically Sierra Leone, but like I know that a lot of people in Africa that are super poor, they sign up for like medical trials, and they have like drugs tested on them because they can't afford food, and this is one of the only options. And this isn't even an option for everybody, because some people don't qualify for that. So if you have people so desperate they're willing to say, yeah, go ahead and stick me with whatever you want, like obviously these charities and job opportunities just aren't there. This is like the poorest of the poor, third world countries, you know.
Now, I haven't been to the Sierra Leone. I don't know exactly what it's like there, but giving what I think they should do is they should have a country that values Christian values, and as a result, the society will improve, and they wouldn't have this theft by necessity wouldn't even exist in that country.
So is the implication here that Christian values create like economic wealth?
Absolutely, they do create economic wealth. Also, they allow people to live prosperously.
I guess
Alright.
like I guess I don't necessarily see like the logical line drawing from Christian values to like economic prosperity, like allocation of resources and whatnot.
Well, there was plenty of people during the early Americas who were very Christian, and they were able to create this great country as we have today, that is very economically wealthy.
Yeah, there was an abundance of unclaimed resources. The natives in America didn't stake a claim to the resources here, so it was very easy for them to access them and utilize them. Whereas this is not the case in some of these poorer countries. When I
That's
say
a good
poor, I'm
thing
saying
that-
they don't have resources that are accessible to them either, you know. These are people that are making like shoes out of garbage. You know.
But if those early Americans were not Christian, they would have fell into the same trap as the natives, and they wouldn't have used the land in order to benefit their own lives and seek prosperity. And in Sierra Leone, if they were Christians, I think they would They would follow the same footsteps as their forefathers did before them.
So it's not enough for you to be Christian. Everybody around you has to be a Christian as well.
If they want prosperity, yeah.
I see. So then, what about I don't think it's very easy to debate against the fact that China is like the leading economic superpower in the world, and the Chinese are predominantly atheist. Buddhism is the national religion, but the population is overwhelmingly atheist, and they seem to have the most economic prosperity right now. And I think there's even been studies shown too that people with higher moral standards have a low, like in the United States, have a lower economic prosperity than people with less moral standards, because it makes it easier for you to shove aside others to get ahead for yourself.
I would say the success of China is due in part to a lot of people that are becoming very Christian, and that has allowed those people to work for themselves and to gain prosperity in their own lives and for their children.
I don't think that I'm pretty sure that there's a really small number. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so less than 1% of China is Christian. Let me just make sure I'm doing my math right here. Pull out my calculator. Oh.
I didn't say that all people in China were Christians. I just said that
Oops, I did that
a
backwards.
growing number of them are becoming Christian, and that's why the society is improving.
Yeah, so we're dealing with, oh, I guess that's it. So yeah, it looks like 4% is Christian. So you're saying that this 4% minority is the reason why China is doing so well? This like overwhelming minority is the reason for their economic success?
Well, it's not just that minority, but the values have also been transmitted from their group into the rest of the culture. Well, the people there do not consider themselves Christians, but they are following those values, and that has been leading them to prosperity.
You think that China's rife with Christian values?
I believe that they are accepting it slowly, and that's leading them to prosperity.
But then how come when we compare it to nations like the United States that have like, at least as far as like 1990 is concerned, like 85% of the population is Christian? And
They are falling away. Sorry.
So it's not about like the quantity of Christianity, it's about the momentum towards. So you can have a vastly larger number of Christians by like multitudes, but if you're declining in number, then the countries that have like a super minority of Christians that are slowly increasing in number are going to have the advantage over the vast majority of Christian nations that are slowly declining.
They are declining because they are falling away from the very values that they see that that their forefathers held on to, whereas China is starting to accept them slowly, and it's leading to rapid prosperity in their country.
I guess I don't necessarily agree with this because I don't see any like correlation between what China's doing that's like leading a direct result of economic prosperity being anything kind of Christian. It seems like really like authoritarian. It seems like a lot of the actions that China takes that's leading them to this prosperity seems to be like really immoral as far as like the Bible is concerned, at least.
The people there are accepting it, but it doesn't mean that the government is. The government of China, I don't agree with at all.
Well, I'm saying where can we draw the line from this super minority of Christians that's slowly increasing to economic prosperity? Like, where is the connection here? We can't just say like there are some number of Christians, therefore this the cause of this thing over here. We need to have like correlatory lines, right? Go ahead.
The line is this: when a certain culture accepts a certain set of values, then it would lead to prosperity. But the United States, I mean, for the longest time has been falling away from these same exact values that have built it up as a nation, and is leading to its decline and fall.
Yeah, but there's still more people accepting these values in the United States than there is in China.
I would disagree. They, a lot of them have said that they do accept these values, and I do not disagree that they may, they may hold some of these values, but a lot of these people in these countries, like the United States, uh, have become very irresponsible to their personal lives, and a lot of them are forgetting those core values of um, like service and creativity, justice, peace, and wisdom, which wisdom absolutely comes from this book, and I can tell you from personal experience that this book has really helped me a lot, especially when it comes to when it comes to being very responsible in my personal life, especially. Okay, I don't know if I should say this on the stream, but
Is-
I personally
As long as there's no like F slurs or N slurs, you're good.
okay.
I mean, you can say fuck, just
I-
just no homophobic or racist terminology, and you're all set, buddy.
All right, so I fell down a horrible path, and this path was towards addiction. It was addiction to to drugs. It was addiction to sex, particularly prostitution. Um, I was living immorally. I was living in sin, and then one day I woke up and I read the Bible, and it changed my life. Particularly when Jesus said that whoever looks at a woman is lusting after her, and that has helped me tremendously, and has helped me become more sexually and more responsible sexually, and more responsible of what I put in my body, considering it's a temple.
Do you think this might just be something that worked for you? It does not necessarily means that it applies across the board. Or that there might be other avenues that may be able to provide happiness and fulfillment as well.
Not at all, Liz. It's a path that definitely helped me, and it's definitely a path that's helped other people. Now, some may follow just the traditions of Judaism, and that may lead them to prosperity. But I would say that they're also forgetting that the tradition, that the teachings of Jesus Christ, tremendously, I'm forgetting the word, but he he expanded those laws and teachings, and he made it possible for anyone to follow his path. Instead of with Judaism, you have to jump through a lot of hurdles, and with Islam, I would say they have, to a degree, fallen have fallen somewhat away from the teachings of Jesus Christ. I know that they believe that he was a very important spiritual teacher. However, they are forgetting that his path will lead somebody to a prosperous life, whereas Muhammad and his teachings have don't necessarily lead people to a happy life, because Muhammad has forgotten the importance of Jesus and his impact. And he was not just a spiritual leader, Muhammad. He was a military leader as well, which differentiated him from Jesus.
Sure. So then, what do you say to people like myself, who by like Christian moral standards would be very immoral? But I have a very fulfilling life. I do pretty well with money. I think my life's pretty fucking kick ass. Also have like a sordid past where I also dealt with like addiction in my past, and I overcame it on my own. I didn't go to rehab. I didn't read the Bible. I understood that I needed to make a change, and I made myself change through self discipline, because I thought that's what was important to me. And I get through my life and I face these challenges that I face by using what just seems like to be moral to me at the time. What do you say to that? Like I would definitely be very, very far off from like following any Christian moral standards in some of the most key and major aspects of my life. But I feel extremely fulfilled. My wife feels very fulfilled. I have a happy kid. I'm happy in my job. So like how come this this lack of morality isn't failing me?
All right, I would say this: although you do not follow the Bible at all, there are some of those values which you do keep to, and I believe that is a good thing that the culture has transplanted some of those values into you. Now, with you being, I remember you telling me that you're polyamorous.
Yep.
And honestly, I'm not going to tell you that your path is sinful. I will love you regardless.
Sure.
As I will also say that you may not think that these values have impacted you, but they have indirectly have has some sort of an impact.
Well, sure. I mean, I live in America, which is predominantly Christian. There's no doubt that certain values may have impacted the way that I see things. But I guess what I'm getting at is that you can get morality from places that don't come from the Bible. You can arrive to these conclusions outside of the Bible entirely. Like as far as like being good to other people, this did not first exist in the Bible. This existed like peace, service, thankfulness, passion, creativity, justice, wisdom, hope, humility, and compassion. All these traits existed long before the Bible did, right?
And I don't disagree with that, but the Bible, what it did is it codified these norms and these values within certain scriptures for people to follow, and I'm glad that Jesus was able to transmit these teachings to his followers, and also I'm glad his followers were able to write these scriptures down within a book. And this book has done a tremendous job in changing my life. And
you know that Jesus isn't an original, right? Like these ideas and these teachings of Jesus are essentially like Xeroxed from previous religions.
Previous religions, such as...
It's like Jesus is a proxy for Horus, the sun god.
I see where you're going.
Like his entire life story was stolen from Horus. Even the Ten Commandments was stolen from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. I have not stolen became thou shalt not steal. I have not murdered became thou shalt not kill. Like every single important aspect of Jesus' life was taken from Horus, including the virgin birth, the supposed birth of December 25th, everything. When he began his sermon, when he began his teachings, the 12 disciples, all these things are taken from the sun god Horus, and they all revolve around astrology.
All right, I've heard this argument before, and I used to believe in this.
This isn't like a matter of opinion. Like this is historical fact, right?
It's a very fringe theory within history. Yes, Christmas theory. I don't particularly hold to it, but I don't think that is the case here. But I do see what your point is that these values come from different polytheistic religions from the past. However, what the Bible has done, which makes it different than these, is it had a teacher who was able to codify all of these values and mix them in with the Jewish traditions, and and as a result, as a result of the legend, he died and he rose again.
Wait, why is the important? It seems like the only difference here is that it mixed it in with the Jewish religions. Why is this important? Why is this like a morality justifying like trait?
All right. So, what the importance of the Jewish traditions, as seen in the Old Testament, is it gives us, not only does it give us the moral commandments, and now these moral commandments are, as I said before, not really where morality comes from, but they just give us idea what good path, what a good path we should follow, such as not lying and not stealing. Jesus was able to extrapolate that, as he said in, I believe, the Gospel of Luke.
But
He
Horace
said
did this
that,
too.
Horace did it as well.
Yeah. Horace began his teachings at the age of 12. He began his ministry at the age of 30. Every single part of Jesus' life, everything that Jesus did that was meaningful, Horace did it first.
Okay.
He was also
okay,
called the Son of God, the Alpha, the Omega, the Lamb of God. Everything.
But I'm not. That's not what I'm trying to argue.
Well, I'm
But
saying
what
if
I'm
it,
argu-
the important thing about this here is that we're claiming objective morality coming from this source. So now the source of the source comes into question, right?
All right. Look, what I'm trying to tell you is with the Old Testament, it gave us these traditions, which gave us these, I would not say commandments, but I would say prescriptions, such as don't steal, don't lie, don't cheat. And Jesus was able to elaborate more on that, like as said in the Gospel of Luke, that you have heard that this commandment, but I say to you, and then he extrapolated more about what that commandment means and what we should do as followers of these traditions and as followers of him in his path.
So I guess another thing that I'm saying is that if you can arrive at these, if you can arrive at morality and success and fulfillment without these things, then how is it objective morality? So like in my understanding of like the term objective morality, that means this would be true even if humans didn't exist. This is just like a natural fact about the state of the universe.
Hello?
Yeah. So my
you
understanding
cut
of objective morality means that this statement is true about morality no matter what. Even if there was no humans around, this would still be a natural fact of the universe.
Maybe in
So
maybe in some.
how could I
Go ahead.
arrive at these conclusions without it then? Or like how? Sorry,
You
not
could-
these conclusions. How could I arrive at like prosperity and like inner peace and fulfillment without these things if it is an objective moral fact?
You may not realize that but these values, although they were now this is where I said before, like I don't disagree with you that these values were evolutionary. Evolution came about evolutionarily. They were codified within this book. Now, if this book were not to exist, if humans were not to exist, this would, on a let's just say like there's an alien planet with alien beings, and they had these similar values, and they were able to codify it within a singular document, and this document was able to lead a lot of people to prosperity by following like some person A's path, and that it exists for conscious beings like you and me. And if there's conscious alien beings, um, these values would exist. It would exist it would exist independently, but they would eventually be codified within a singular um, within a
See,
singular.
these would naturally arise with the advent of consciousness, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, so then what about the idea that so like Buddhists exist and they have radically different opinions about morality, and they have radically different ways of going about achieving morality, and yet they seem to be really fulfilled and moral. I mean, I don't think anybody would say like the Buddhist ideology teaches immorality, right?
Well, okay. So I like
And
this
it's-
question because. Go ahead.
I was gonna say like they're non-theistic, but like charity, like they're not even allowed to like Buddhist monks. They don't even work. They completely rely on the charity of other people to eat. They go around and they collect food from the community, these sorts of things. So they're very very diametrically different than what we would think of like a Christian person to be. And yet I don't think that the argument could be made that they're living immorally or that they're not fulfilled.
Okay, so when it comes to Buddhists, now I have family members who are Buddhist, and I send my love to them, irrespective. But with Buddhists, now they do live happily. Also, they may not realize it, but some of the values from the Judeo-Christian tradition have been transplanted within their culture and their traditions to a degree.
It'd be the other
even
way
though
around,
they-
though. Buddhism predates Judeo-Christian religions.
I understand that it does predate Christianity, however, it doesn't predate Judaism. And so, with Judaism and with Christianity in mind, these values have been from the Judeo-Christian tradition have traveled eastward, and that is why you see some prosperity within China, but you don't see prosperity in countries where my grandparents are from, which is India, which doesn't have that strong of connection to Judeo-Christian values, and is doing horrible.
Oh shit, you're right. Judaism is 300 years older than Buddhism.
Yeah, and what Christianity does is it expands upon the traditions that Judaism gave us.
Well, it retcons it too, though. It changes the rules a lot. It changes the values a lot.
I would disagree. I say it expands. It expands a lot of the traditions, and the values are still kept. But Jesus shows us a path we should walk down to prevent us from living in darkness.
Yeah, so that's another thing that I take a lot of issue with too. Like you talked yesterday about like the moral decay of society. These things that you see as moral decay, how do you justify these things as actually being bad?
Okay, so when it comes to sexual actually, I don't think I'm allowed to say this on the stream, but I will
Sexual
say,
degeneracy?
Yeah, I don't believe I'm allowed to say that.
You can give an opinion, just don't like I said, just stay away from slurs and stuff, and you're fine.
Okay, when it comes to sexual degeneracy, such as promiscuity from males and females, it has led people down a dark path and a path away from the Judeo-Christian values that were once instilled into this culture, and now they are acting very irresponsibly, and that is destroying their own personal lives, their own personal state of being. Call it a soul or whatever.
Can you expound on that? Can you explain like what you mean by this degeneracy and how it's like directly impacting their lives? Like I guess I just don't see a clear line from like having sex with different people to like having like a bad life. Cause like I'm polyamorous. I have sex with people that aren't my wife, and my life's pretty dope.
All right. So for the majority of people, it does lead to very harmful outcomes. It leads to jealousy. It leads to envy, and it leads to just the breakdown of.
She won't let me if I say screw. I'll tell
I heavily contest. Do you know what compresion is?
Then I'm like, screw off. Like that.
Or like screw this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not that bad either.
Oh, I think I lost you.
I won't like tell somebody to
Oh,
do
you
that
left.
unless they're really being like that. Like they
Hopefully he'll be back in a moment.
It's one thing if you're saying it for a video game, it's another thing if you're telling people.
Yeah, unless they're like being really rude and won't leave you alone, then
The biggest important thing is that you know the difference between those.
Can you have her turn that down a little
I
bit?
just get really upset at video games and sometimes
Thank
I do
you.
that.
Well, you
And
turn
she's
that
like, she
down
doesn't
so
let Nick
low.
like, yeah. She doesn't
Let's
let
see. I'll
Nick
try to
like
take this
Nick
opportunity to switch
like
headsets.
right about options. Yeah, Nikolai's already had a couple not flipping off people, and guess what? He swears and my mom doesn't care. And then if I
Holy shit! It's already fully charged.
I know, but then she.
real matured.
I
Maybe
know.
you should like teach your son to be better.
You know, and then she tells us that she lets you swear.
Try me. Faker lion.
All right. I'm gonna message him, see what happened. Seems like he lost connection.
Florian. So why does your pop start off with 600? Like 648, like the numbering.
I don't know. Yes, make one.
Hey, Mary, how are you? We had somebody else in here. We're talking about the morality of the Bible and its relevance in the world today. But I think his internet maybe went out. Hi, I love you too.
Who's that?
And Bucko.
Hi, Bucko!
Morgan says hi.
Lilith also says hi.
What? Stop!
Kiora!
In
It's
the.
Aunt Bucko. Wait, she calls her Jama.
Oh man, where you at, buddy?
You can go say hi to her. Ask your dad.
He was going real good there for a minute.
But I don't know if she's getting off soon, so if you want to say hi, you gotta ask.
She said hi as well.
I think so. Yeah.
Man's quiet.
Can Lilith come say hi in the mic to her?
Sure.
Okay. She's right there.
Meow meow.
She's on my side.
Meow meow. Come right here.
You go say hi.
Hi, Aunt Bucko.
Yeah, I think that he did. Hopefully he comes back soon.
How did you know she was on the phone with her?
She watches your dad's streams.
Oh, really?
Yep, her and Randy.
Every time?
Not every time, just when they can.
She said hello. Oh, hey. Give me one sec. Let me change my sound settings real quick so I can hear you. I switched back to my regular headset.
The last time she was on was a while ago. So I figured you probably want to say
There we go. I can hear you now.
She calls me J-Mom, like, what?
because you look like little Jamie.
Oh, no. You're fine, buddy.
Sometimes I wish she just looked up here. So
Me too. Your dad and I really want to go visit her.
Nobody's
Um,
on there, so I'll be surprised if anybody says
So,
Well, if you
I believe the last thing that we were on was, I asked you to explain, like, what, you had said that this leads to things like envy and jealousy, and I heavily contested that as that, I mean, certainly jealousy sometimes can come up, but it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes, like, for instance, like, I'm polyamorous, and if I feel jealousy, I understand that this isn't something that another person is doing to me. It gives me a chance to be introspective and see why I'm feeling this way. But more often than not, I feel compresion. Are you familiar with this emotion? It's
Compresion?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with it.
So I usually define compresion as the opposite of jealousy. It's when you see somebody filling a role that you would like to fill, like usually for your partner, and it makes you feel really happy. So, instance, sometimes my wife's girlfriend will do something really nice for her, and it makes me feel so good that she has somebody else on her side that would act in the same manner that I would. And knowing that she has this additional support and fulfillment makes me extremely happy in a way that, like, other things just usually don't. So it's very appropriate that there's another word to describe this emotion. It's an extremely positive emotion and very fulfilling.
So you have security.
I don't know if I would call it security. So yeah. I guess that would be one of the more root like building block emotions of that. Just like insecurity would be a root building block of jealousy.
And you do have trust.
Absolutely.
All right. So you do follow some of the values that are Christian.
Well, sure, but I'm saying they don't corner the market on these values. Like
Alright.
these well, not only that too, these are also like emotions too. Like they're not just values, these are just like emotions that are like, like positive or negative to experience, for the most part.
Emotions are definitely precursors to these two values, absolutely.
Sure,
Um,
but I mean like these are generally seen as like pleasant emotions or negative emotions broadly speaking, but I don't think that they're necessarily like are prescriptive of like morality, because it can feel really good. I can feel really good and secure and passionate about murdering people. This doesn't presuppose that murder is morally good.
Yeah. However, you do believe that murder is bad, and so you believe in justice.
So yeah, I do believe that murder is bad, but I don't think that the reason why it's bad is because it's intrinsically bad. I don't think that murder is always bad. I think if you can stop somebody from killing a crowd of people by killing them, you would be like morally obligated to do so.
But you do believe in justice.
Sure, but what I'm saying is that if morality is objective and it's just intrinsically true, the moral statement that we should not kill people would not be able to be violated, even if we were to do so to save lives. Now it becomes subjective. It enters the dimension of subjective morality, where we can kind of debate whether or not something is good or bad based on the circumstances, which would
No, it's still
very much not objective.
It still keeps to the objective, as I said before a while ago. There are some gray areas. However, the best possible path would be but when it comes to killing, okay, this is a different question. So, killing somebody to save your own life, that is still very it's not necessarily good. However,
Yeah, that's why I didn't use the self as an example, to save others' lives. I feel like it's better to take yourself out of it when we're dealing with a moral conundrum.
yeah, I would say when it comes to saving your life, Jesus did say that whoever takes up arms against you, whoever perishes by the sword, whoever lives by the sword perishes with the sword. So he did talk about defending yourself from terrible invaders who seek to harm you physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Okay, but yeah, so like what about not you? What if you're killing to save somebody else, which isn't addressed?
All right. So as again going back to the sword,
Yeah.
he allows us to defend ourselves, and he allows us to defend our brothers. As we seen within the verse with the sword. It's a hold on, I'm trying to get to it.
Okay. Take your time, buddy. So just to address you in chat, I don't think that murdering people that do immoral things is morally correct. Like for instance, like when you say like pedophilia, I would see this as a mental disorder, and I think that we should certainly keep them away. I think they should be locked up in some manner or another, and we should be working to try to treat these people from this like the thing that they have going on in their head. I don't even agree with killing people that have killed people. I only believe in killing to prevent murder, not as retribution for killing. Like I'm dead set against capital punishment. So that was directly addressing the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, for I say to you, which is written, um, when I sent you without a money bag, knapsack, and sandals, did you lack anything? But then he said to them, but now he who has a money bag, let him take it like a knapsack, for he who has no sword, sell his garment to buy one. So it does say that you should protect yourself, and he who has numbered the transgressors for the things concerning me have an end.
Okay, I mean, I can accept that part. So where does your morality land on justice? How is justice supposed to be served? Do you believe like an eye for an eye? Like, so which
no.
would justify capital punishment?
It does justify capital punishment, but it also, one thing I believe is good about the Bible is that one thing that was different from most other religions at the time is it had the
I'm gonna take a
concept of
bath.
forgiveness.
Do you
Sure.
want me to start dinner after that?
Sure.
Okay. What's up with that headset? Why is it on? Thank you. Alright, well, I'm gonna take a bath. While I'm starting dinner, I'll have you start reading, okay?
Alright,
So then where do we draw the line between forgiveness and justice?
okay, so so the line is drawn when somebody has tried to repent, but his ways have not changed, and he's still on that destructive path. He hasn't redeemed himself in any good way. He hasn't kept to any of the values of service. He hasn't served anyone in his community. He has no thankfulness, and he's not he has no concept of
So he's not subscribing to the list of values that you had given me in the beginning.
mhm.
Okay. So I mean, from my perspective, I think that it's immoral to seek retribution in these ways, and even like when I think of in terms of justice, I always think of it in a way to where the objective of justice is trying to prevent the bad act from repeating itself.
Mhm. Prevent the bad act from repeating itself.
Yeah. So, like, for instance, in chat, somebody said, I think that killing pedophiles is good. And I argue that obviously this person is suffering from some kind of mental illness, and I don't think that it would be good to kill them. I think that we should treat this as an issue, and then we can stem this into other crimes as well. We should treat this as an issue and do our best to try to make them better so that this sort of behavior never happens again, and that we can get them into being good people in society again. Similarly with like thieves, if somebody is stealing because maybe they don't know how to find a job or they lack the skills, it would seem like a good idea to get them into some sort of placement program where they can acquire the skills where they could achieve employment and find some sort of fulfillment into providing for themselves rather than stealing. This seems better to me than locking somebody up for 10 years for stealing something.
When it comes to pedophilia, I would say that is a good program that would definitely help those who are suffering from these intrusive thoughts.
Sure.
However, if they do not keep to that path, and they've repeatedly shown over and over again that that if this is something they consciously choose, now you may argue that they have no choice in the matter, but I do believe that people
I think they do have a choice to act upon it.
Okay,
If anybody except for the most severely mentally ill people have the ability to reject their thoughts and desires for the sake of what's right and choose to not act upon them, in that case, we would just see this as an incurable person, and then we would basically treat them as a lifelong treatment. We would get them in a place where they wouldn't be able to commit any of these bad crimes, and we would keep them away. I can't find any justification of murdering somebody post hoc for a crime.
My character is time.
Well,
Oh, so-
murder is definitely a good punishment for a crime if he is shown to have repeatedly stray away from the path and has no remorse for any of the terrible things that he has committed. He shall, in my opinion, be worthy of the death penalty.
What's the time limit for remorse? At
What's the
what
time limit?
Yeah, because like nobody has remorse. It's like remorse isn't something that happens immediately after a bad act is committed. It usually takes time and self-reflection and trying to figure out like what went wrong, where I strayed from like my ideal path, and then coming to the realization that this is not the way I want to do something anymore. It seems like if we're going to say that we're going to kill you for doing this, and we're eliminating the possibility of any kind of introspection, or we're severely limiting the time that they have. So it seems like we would have to put like a time limit cap on when somebody can feel remorse. If you don't feel remorse within 15 days, then we're going to kill you. And then if you say like 10 years, this feels equally arbitrary. We're just making up a number that feels good rather than actually trying to solve this problem.
It depends on the person. It depends on the person. If for example, if he has repeatedly done this, if he's repeatedly been in these programs, and if he's repeatedly shown that he has no inclination to change and follow the right path, then the death penalty would be necessary.
Well, why wouldn't we see this as a failure of the programs then? Like, why is this immediately on the person? Why is it not like, hey, perhaps the help that we're providing isn't adequate? Maybe we need to approach a different strategy. We're immediately putting it on this person, even though the entire idea of these programs is to try to fix the problem. If it's not fixing the problem, then we can't say, well, it's just the problem that's the problem. Like, well, maybe we're approaching this the wrong way. We need to innovate. We need to, strengthen our resolve and find new ways to try to combat this sociological plight that we're trying to deal with.
Man has free will, and if he is shown to, it's not just a failure of these programs. If this is something he has chosen for himself, if he has chosen to do.
This is super important. When you say free will, what do you mean by free will?
I mean the choice to think rationally and follow the teachings of Jesus Christ, and lead yourself down a path of prosperity. And with the case with these pedophiles, if they have been shown that they do not want to be redeemed, and if they show, no matter how much these programs have tried to help them, we can't just blame these programs and say, oh, these programs are bad, instead of...
I just want to be really clear that I'm not defending pedophiles. This is just a proxy for like using the most extreme case of crime that people dislike the most, and that's definitely like a crime that I dislike the most as well. As a parent, I just want to say that I'm definitely not endorsing it whatsoever. It just seems like when we use extremes, they're really good models for if it applies here, it'll apply everywhere.
Yes. However,
It's an important clarification to make.
If the man has chosen that path, and if he has failed these programs repeatedly, and he has shown no inclination to change, no matter how hard these people try to help him, then he should get the death penalty.
Okay, so there's two things on that. One, we could see this as a failure of those trying to help. The other thing is, too, that when we say that somebody has the free will to make decisions, we're really bound by our biology, too. So, like, for instance, I have ADHD. And while it's super easy for a lot of people to accomplish certain tasks, for me, they are tumultuously hard, and I fail at doing things that are really easy for other people all the time, even though it could be something for somebody else. It's something as easy as just deciding to do something. It doesn't work that way for me. It's like an ADHD brain doesn't prioritize things the way other people do. So generally speaking, if you have several tasks you have to do, you use language in your own internal monologue to say, I have to do this, this, and this, and your brain will prioritize it in this way. My brain does not use dialect. It doesn't have. I can't use my dialogue to assign priorities in my brain. It won't do that. I lack this capacity. So generally, my brain prioritizes things based on what's interesting. So I don't get to decide like, hey, I'm going to take out the garbage at 10. If something more interesting happens, it'll completely release that. It won't be there for me. I can't access it. Like, there's no mechanism here to remind me so that I can choose to make this decision. Do you know what I mean?
But you do have a choice. You do have a choice in order to try and help yourself and try to help yourself remind yourself what you need to do.
I do try. But sometimes I fail in doing so. I'm saying that my free will is limited based on my capacity, my biological capacities here. I'm not saying that I have no will at all. I certainly have some will, but it is certainly impacted by my capacity to do things the same way that other people do. And it seems like what the idea here is that I have the same capacity to make decisions as freely as everybody else does, and that is not the case.
I would say this. When it comes to free will, you do absolutely have this choice, and it's not a limitation on free will. I don't disagree that biological externalities, such as ADHD, schizophrenia, or
PTSD.
DID.
Yeah, DID is another really good one.
Yes, I have DID, and it hasn't really affected me one bit. I do have a choice, though, and if I want to stay in my primary personality, or if I want to let others take control and be co-conscious with me. And so with when going back to your example with ADHD and with people with disabilities, they do have the free will in order to help themselves despite the setbacks. Despite the setbacks, if they have PTSD, they can try and take medication to alleviate that and help them think rationally, clearly, and allow them to, because free will is based on choice, and they do have these choices.
Yeah, so especially in the case of like PTSD, the success rate can be is as low as 65%. So we're saying that 35% of these people just don't have the free will to do certain things because their PTSD will interfere with this. And I think that we can agree that most people that would commit like really horrible acts are not of sound mind, right? At least the vast majority of them. You might find some niche cases where somebody comes up with a really clear and logical reason that makes sense to themselves as to why they should commit some heinous act. But for the most part, people are misled by what we would describe as mental illness. Some sort of biological trait that impedes their ability to make good decisions.
They do have a choice, though, if they want to alleviate this. They do have a choice, which is to take medicine and to alleviate these symptoms and to lead themselves to a correct path, which is the path of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but I like I just said too, not all medical treatments are successful. Like in the case of PTSD, 35% of people will not see any relief based on treatment.
There's a difference between those mental illnesses and those who have those desires to molest children, and in those cases, people do need to go on a path to try and redeem themselves, whereas if you have something that you were born with and that you couldn't help, you still do have a choice to alleviate some of those symptoms, but you shouldn't just say, oh, we should just, that the failure of these people to follow this path is our fault. Sometimes.
No, I'm saying that if
their
treatment is ineffective, I'm saying like I'm arguing against killing these people, right? If treatment is ineffective, we have to at least examine the possibility that the treatment is faulty, and not that the person is unwilling to get better.
All right, if the treatment for these pedophiles hasn't worked and they've refused to redeem themselves, then they should definitely get the death penalty.
And how do we justify the killing of somebody?
How do we justify it?
Yeah.
So, if somebody commits these acts constantly and doesn't want to redeem themselves, then it is necessary that we should exclude them from our civilization.
Sure, but we could do that without killing them.
But it's better to kill them, because if you do it without killing them, they could still commit these heinous acts. And
Not
you
if
may
we
say,
put
"Well,
them
it's
in
not a
jail.
problem." Sometimes jail doesn't always work, and that doesn't always lead people down a path of redemption. And as a result, they will commit these crimes as soon as they come out.
Yeah, but what if we don't let
And
them out? The irredeemables. What if we just don't let them out?
They will still commit these. They will still try to commit these heinous acts, even
Yep.
even within prison, such as rape.
Yeah, but what if we don't give them
hold on a sec.
access to it? We don't give them access to other people via like solitary confinement.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I can't talk for that much longer. There's something I need to do. So okay, so
Yeah, no problem, buddy.
So I guess what should be our closing statements?
I guess if you want to sum up what your ideology is, and then I'll go ahead and sum up mine, and rebuttal
Okay.
if I have a rebuttal, and you can rebuttal to my closing statement as well.
Okay, so I am a Christian atheist, and I am also I believe in objective morality, and I believe that coincides with my political views, being following somewhat of the philosophy of following the philosophy of Ayn Rand, also applying that to neoconservatism as well. And that absolutely leads I believe that my path and the values that are instilled within this book lead people down a path of prosperity.
Okay, and I guess I still hold true to the idea that I think that there are many paths to prosperity. I certainly think that you can get there with your path, but I think that there's also many other avenues that are equally fruitful, and if not more so fruitful. Regardless of whether you have a God or not, but I also reject the idea of objective morality due to the fact that you can achieve morality through, unlimited numbers of means, and that there's not a single source of them.
All right. I guess my rebuttal to you would be that these Christian values, maybe people don't realize it or not, but Judeo-Christian values prevalent in everyday life, and hopefully everyone will find their way back to Christ.
But figuratively speaking, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got figurative meaning.
Meaning that you don't believe that Jesus is an actual historical character; he's a fictional character.
Well,
If they find their way back to Christ, it would be to imply that Jesus was the Son of God, and you don't believe in God, therefore Jesus could not be.
Yeah, so I guess in that sense, it is figurative, but despite whether Jesus existed or not, his path is important to follow.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure to clarify when we say come back to Christ, we're not actually we're not actually seeking out this deity. We're just finding our way to Christ would be a proxy statement to say follow the faith and moral teachings of the fictional character Jesus Christ.
All right. Okay, so your rebuttal.
Yeah, I would just say that we don't need any we don't need any of these things, that there's just still like a ton of avenues in which we could achieve morality from. Just like their social contract seems to be like a really good substitute for this, and it doesn't lead to any of the dangers that following like a religious path does. Which
Okay.
if you want to talk again next time, I'd be really happy to go into why I think that religion is dangerous and detrimental to like the mental health of people and whatnot.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm definitely willing to talk to you again.
yeah, for sure, buddy. And you're Robert Loja, right? That's
Yep.
your handle? Okay. Well, cool, Robert. I hope to talk to you again sometime soon. Don't be afraid to hit me up on Discord, and I'll be happy to do this with you again.
Also send me the stream.
Oh, yeah. I'll send it to you right now. It's twitch.com/elderjawsy. You can also go to elderjawsy.com. Not a very big stream, but I'm working on that. All right, take care, buddy. Stay safe.
Good night.
That was a good one. I really enjoyed that conversation with that guy. I think I'm actually gonna upload this one to YouTube. I didn't go as hard and press as hard as maybe I wanted to. I wanted to sort of get a feel for this guy. I definitely think that there's a lot of fallacies in the things that he's saying. I'm not particularly a fan of the fact that he always prescribes these values to be like inherent to a system that like existed after these values did. So it's like seems really weird to say like, well, yeah, but like peace, service, thankfulness, passion, creativity, justice, wisdom, hope, humility, and compassion are all Christian values when they all existed long before Christianity did. This doesn't seem right to me. It seems like Christianity adopted these things, and I don't even think that they were the first system to like bring all these ideas together either. I mean, he definitely had some interesting takes. I think that the biggest thing that I take issue with that he says is that like he basically holds like the traditional Christian standard, like this is the only path that works. Any other path will not work. That one bothers me a lot. Even if somebody says like it seems really similar to when somebody says like the only way to God is through Jesus Christ. I would argue that if you're seeking the divine, that there are many paths to take, that God wouldn't be so fickle as to say that you have to say a specific chant or a prayer. Otherwise, I'm not going to reach out, communicate with you, and like have any sort of meaningful relationship with you. This sounds like a really, really weird and fickle type of deity to me. I say it in like the more meme sense. I usually say like somebody's trying to talk to God, and he goes, so, did you say in Jesus' name? Oh, if you don't say my kid's name, then I'm not going to talk to you. This just doesn't seem to me to be how like a perfect and divine being would behave. So I guess I'm gonna see if I can find somebody else to talk to. Yeah, thanks. I really did enjoy that one too, and I'm glad you did as well. And I'm particularly glad that it made you think and, like you said, re-examine some of your stuff. That's why I like having these conversations. I experienced that myself recently. I was watching a lecture, a Harvard lecture on morality, and in it they discussed this legal case in which this boat was, I don't know if it was capsized or whatever, but the sailors were stranded, and they decided to eat the sick cabin boy so that they could all survive. And I'm not sure how I feel about the morality of being in a situation where you determine who will die to save the rest of them. This is something I've been thinking about for a few days. And I guess I don't really know if like the person consenting to it makes a difference or not. there's a lot of factors that go into this, and it's just made it really difficult for me to arrive at like a satisfying conclusion for what I think is the morally correct thing to do in that situation. So yeah, that one was really good. And let's see. The videos are super good. If you want to check them out, there's a link to them there. Damn, I really didn't want to have to fold on that hand. I think I'm on like the 5th video, where it gets to be a little bit more like intertwined with like politics and morality. But they're really good. I mean, they're free Harvard lectures. So the problem with like waiting for somebody to die is that now we're saying like if we wait for somebody to die, then that we're saying like then that person might have been able to be saved by killing somebody else. And so the idea here too is that it did really good. So the idea here is too is that the cabin boy was sick and he was going to die anyways. And also, too, you run the risk if you wait for one person to die, then you might run the risk of like several people dying at once. And I think that the argument here is that is one life worth saving the many. It's sort of a more complex version of the trolley problem. It adds a lot more nuance to the trolley problem than we're used to in discussing like the trolley problem. I assume I'm pretty sure that you've heard, if not on your own, that you've heard me discuss the trolley problem on stream before. Yeah, it gets really complicated. Said I've been sitting with this one for a few days. Yeah, and then if you wait for somebody to die, everybody else might be too weak to actually, like curate and prepare the human meat. Then, as morbid as that is, that's another possibility that you have to consider. Is that so? What that really boils down to is that we're risking a greater number of lives here still by waiting for somebody to die. It's really tough. This might be like one of the toughest moral situations that I've found myself considering. It's particularly hard because everybody in the situation have equal moral standings. And then it also gets more difficult too is that we don't know that help isn't going to arrive in time either, right? It's just this risk factor that help might arrive in time or might not arrive in time to save us. And in the actual circumstance, they did kill the cabin boy and they ate him, and then help arrived and they saved them not too long after that, and they were tried for murdering this cabin boy who was already sick. I think they were found innocent. So a lot of people say like if somebody consents, they say like, hey, you can kill me first. This would be good. But then the counter argument to that is that that no matter what, even if people weren't trying to coerce them, there is coercion simply by virtue of the fact that they don't want to have other people's deaths on them. So that just being able to say like, hey, you can kill me, it just seems like this isn't going to be a decision that can be made of sound mind, granted the circumstances. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there is or isn't a right answer. I guess what I'm trying to find for myself is the answer that I would come to, putting myself in their shoes. Like I feel like if the decision came down to me, I'm sure I would have to decide at some point. Although I do think that like the mental fog and stuff that comes from being extremely hungry will probably have some sort of play on my eventual decision. So I guess I'm just trying to put myself in this situation while I'm outside of it so that I can have a clear mind. Yeah, for real, right? I guess I think morally, the correct thing to do is probably to just hold out and hold out for hope, and choose not to kill anybody. Try to stay in it together. Yeah, that would probably be my take now that I'm doing it. We should all suffer together. However, if somebody, I guess, decides to break from the group and try to kill somebody, then it would probably be pretty justified in. Well, no, I still wouldn't try to kill them. You could try to prevent them in other ways. You could sort of like tie them up or restrain them. But then I guess it comes into question then if they do go ahead and kill somebody. I don't think it would. If somebody breaks off and does kill somebody and says, "Larry, now let's eat," I think you would probably, I would still probably eat. But it would be your moral obligation to do your best to prevent this from happening. Yeah, I think that's where I land. So you missed it last night. I had a 2-hour-long debate about this definition of sauce. That given the frame that we're using this definition of sauce for, seems to, the way that it was worded, seemed to not allow for sauce to be created accidentally. We got really elaborate with it. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Are you sick? I so badly wish I would have recorded or streamed that debate. Oh, okay. All right, well, get some rest. Try not to go out. I worry about you guys being in Florida a lot. I love you very much as well. Good, I'm glad to hear that. We don't either. Oh, if whoever popped in, you just missed a pretty good debate about morality of the Bible. Unfortunately, he had to go. But we're going to pick it up again in another time. So for now, it's just poker, and so I'll get some music going here. Until we can get somebody in here to argue with me. I absolutely will. We got top pair. We should be able to take this. Did I hop into the other Discord? Okay, I did. So we're just waiting. Ooh. I'm scared of the 10 queen. I don't want to give up that many chips on the bet. Come on, don't stray off from me now. I need this hand. Come on, Mark Anthony. You gotta bet on this.
Stuffle.
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
Pretty good. I'm just checking out VCs. See what's going on.
So just so you know, I know that this channel has rules about it. I'm streaming, so I have to let you know that I'm streaming. Otherwise, I get in trouble. Is that okay with you?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I'm just bouncing from VC to VC, so I'm not sticking around.
You doing
Alright.
what?
I'm bouncing from VC to VC to see what's going on, so I'm not sticking around.
Oh, you don't want to have a
Alright.
debate with me, buddy?
Nah, I don't like debating.
Oh, okay. Wrong channel. All
I know. All right, outies.
right, take it easy, buddy.
My good boy. Mommy has a word for you. Come home, sweetie.
Nah, hand's garbage. Where are we at? 16th place. It's not terrible. Oh, it's worth 500, I guess.
This is your job. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Excuse me, motherfucker. Okay? I'm a plumber. That's my job. I
Oh no.
plumb shit. Okay? I never asked for any of this hero crap. Last time I tried to save this bitch, I lost my fucking eye, Luigi. Or did you forget that shit? I'm not saving. I'm done. You know what? Fuck. I'll go without. Without? Yeah, without. Nigga, you need me. Super Mario, nigga. Brothers. Super Mario Brothers, bitch. At least that's what we used to be. I don't know who the fuck you are no more. You wanna know who I am? I'm the nigga that you ain't good enough to be. You ain't nothing but a player 2 ass nigga, Luigi. That's it. That's all you are. That's all you ever gonna be. When you die, that's how niggas gonna remember you. Player fucking 2. I carry this team. You'd be dead in 5 minutes without me.
So that's the way it's gonna be, huh?
My whole life, I lived in your shadow. And not once did I ever complain about the way shit was. I've been there for you since day one. And you sit there and say that bullshit to me?
I love you, bro. But you gotta pray to God that you don't fucking miss.
So good. So good. Throw a little money on the table to see if I can scare him off. Okay, I got 2 pair. About a little bit. Sometimes it'd be like that.
Shalom, Destiny person.
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
I'm doing good. I got. Oh my god, you even have his fucking mannerism. But what is it? I got to read that study.
Yeah.
I don't like your facts because it disagrees with my opinion. But there you go. It's bullshit. I couldn't find a problem with it. I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. They did it recently.
Sometimes it'd be like that.
It really do. It really do. Fucking Christ. Whatever. Thank God I believe in returning the monkey. That's a joke. I'm not a Kaczynski guy. I think the quartet's a little based, though. A little based. Just a wee bit.
Hey, what's that, bud?
I think Uncle Ted's a little based. Just a little. Just a wee bit.
I actually don't even know how to change my fucking picture on Discord.
You don't?
No, I'm trying to figure it out. It's not.
You a fucking boomer or some shit?
No. Big time millennial.
Okay, fucking. You see,
I'm actually a computer technician.
What the fuck, dog? Okay, you see screen where you can hit screen share and shit? Go under that, go to user settings, then hit edit, and then click your change avatar.
Yeah, so I see I can go to the user settings and go to what?
And then you click edit on my account, and then you hover over your, the avatar, and you should be able to change it.
Yeah, it's not there.
Are you on mobile or are you on PC or?
I'm on PC. Oh, by the way, buddy, I have to tell you, because of the rules of this server, that I'm streaming. Is that okay with you?
Oh no, I figured that out. I hovered over your account.
Okay. I am just required to say it. I've never had any issues in here with it. I just like being here, so I don't. I follow the rules.
It's cool, dude. What is it? I wish it had, like, remember the TeamSpeak days where it'd be like, a user on your channel is recording?
No, actually, I didn't have a computer back then. Like, I used Ventrilo, like, one time in my life.
I miss TeamSpeak. It was shitty, but I miss it. Well, the UI was shitty.
I very much believe that.
Fucking... It was like a text
damn.
document.
Yeah, so when I go to account, it just says streamer mode enabled, and I can't seem to change my shit.
That's fucking goofy. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. So you're stuck with Destiny, my friend.
Well, I have a really cool picture and shit for my here we go. For my I have a cool picture for my stream and stuff that I was preferring to use. And I was also really curious to see if people would have the same opinions about me sounding like Destiny and stuff if I didn't have a Destiny picture.
Honestly, I never got the vibe that you sounded like Destiny. I think you have similar mannerisms, but, like, I think if I didn't see the Destiny profile picture, I probably wouldn't have immediately got that. It's like, oh, it's a guy that likes to say buddy. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not your buddy, pal.
Like even so, like I get that all the time, and even in the chat yesterday, somebody was like it's just crazy. This guy sounds so much like Destiny. And honestly, I don't. I think that we talk pretty differently.
I never really got the vibe that you're like one and the same. I don't know if people got that like at all.
Yeah, I get called a clone a lot. So I'm contesting this. I'm contesting this by trying to change my shit. So let's see here. Okay, I can change my picture on mobile.
Oh, here, take a free Twitch subscription.
Hey!
I got you, homie. You can have my Prime.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Oh, dude, no fucking problem, man. I remember the good old days and like when Twitch was hard as fuck for small streamers. I know the struggle.
It still is.
It still is. It
Yeah.
still is. No, I mean like back when partnering was like absurdly difficult. Like they only
Yeah.
partnered really few people.
I had a hard time just getting affiliate. Well, I guess it wasn't that hard. As soon as I got like, hey, I'm gonna fucking get this, and I put my head to it, we got there pretty quick.
Fair enough, man. Shit's fucking. I remember this was like when Twitch wouldn't even tolerate like, say you even had a little bit of cleavage, your ass was gone. I don't know what the fuck happened. I really don't know what happened.
I'll tell you what happened. Twitch wouldn't survive if cleavage was this disqualifying factor.
Dude, fucking remember poor streamers on the ARC tab would get banned for having crop tops on and shit.
That's insane.
Dude, but that's like 2016. Not even that. Before that, 2015. It's been like 5 years. Dude, that's still chippy as fuck to me, dude. It feels like the election, like when Trump was elected like a year ago, like at most. Feels like I'm trapped in 2016 a little bit.
I feel that.
Eh.
I don't know. It's just they're sort of in this like really weird spot right now where like I don't know. Everything feels fucking made up right now. I have a little bit more of that too. Like last September, my grandmother's house exploded, killing my grandma and leaving my mom homeless. So she stays with me now. So like on top of all this other craziness, I'm still trying to like figure that shit out.
How the fuck did your grandma's house explode?
Propane leaked underneath her house until it just went boom.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Goodness.
So like trying to like assess that craziness and then deal with like the political craziness and now with this COVID shit, it just seems like I haven't had like a break to where things seem like real, you know?
Dude.
Like so much in my life just seems made up. Even to the extent of like getting like these fat ass unemployment checks up until like just now when they stopped, like that's been fucking unreal. Just having like $6,000 a month for doing nothing.
Dude.
Between my wife and I.
Dude, that's fucking.
Well, a little closer to 7, but yeah, that's been pretty unreal.
Dude, I missed out on claiming the unemployment checks because I was technically underage when I lost my job because we shut the place down. So I was like, oh, where's my Gibbs me dads? This is fucking bullshit.
Yeah,
I want
dude.
Gibbs.
Dude, just fucking, we've just been making fucking bank sitting on our ass.
I could have fucking gotten my dream car by now with that fucking kind of money, man. This is bullshit.
I built my dream PC.
Nah, you lucky fuck. I've been using the same specs since like 2016.
Oh my gosh.
I think I added an SSD. That's it.
I got a. Do you mind if I share my specs? I'm really proud of it.
I swear to God, it's gonna be like a fucking giant list. 1050 Ti's, 3 of them.
Haha, 2080 Ti.
Oh fuck.
I got a 3900X liquid cooled. I got 11 terabytes of storage hard drive. I got a 1 terabyte Rocket solid state drive, and I got 32 gigabytes of DDR4 RGB RAM.
Okay, so you're a big baller. That's good to know. Fucking Christ, dude.
Yeah, I really love my PC. Let's see. Here's.
I had a friend of mine spent like I think $5,000 on his PC. His thing was a beast though. He could play Ark on the highest settings possible, and we would have these massive bases. The way the base would work was Ark was really buggy at the time, So
Sure.
our whole goal was making it so laggy, so many entities going out, that if you had anything like short of a god tier PC, because everyone in the group besides me had god tier PCs, that it would literally crash your computer. Like you could not play. So you would be having these frame spikes while getting shot at. So you're pretty much donezo.
Sure.
Oh damn! Fucking Christ! That looks like a fucking Linus Tech Tips fucking PC build.
Safety. I love Linus.
I had a coworker that was really into him. Like we'd be sitting there, and
I don't-
we had like computer registers. We would tab out and just watch Linus videos and shit like that.
I don't like. He's really mean to the fat guy that works for him, though. Like whenever he goes to explain something, he fucking cuts him off. I'm like, this dude just did all the work for you. Just shut the fuck up and let the man talk after you ask him a fucking question, dog.
I feel like it's an Ellen. It's like Ellen. He's the Ellen of the fucking PC world. Just an
That's
asshole.
fair. Yeah, he has like a glorious like mass appeal on the surface level.
Dude, I never even really was
He's
that
kind of
like
a
appealed
dick.
to Ellen. Like, I always got vibes from Ellen that she was like evil.
Oh.
No, dude, I feel like she fucking runs Guantanamo Bay in her backstage, dude.
That's such a weird, controversial take. That's like saying I think Oprah is a pedophile, which people do
Sure.
say.
I wouldn't be surprised about that either.
But it's a really hot take.
I don't know, dude. I think a lot, like, well, just seeing Ellen, something about Ellen, and like, okay, these are like newer examples, but I always kind of got a vibe. I didn't really like her much, but I remember seeing on television when she fucking peer pressured someone into revealing that they were pregnant, and they had like a miscarriage like a month later. It was kind of like, oh, you a bitch.
Well, I strongly argue against the idea that the morality of an action has anything to do with the consequences of said action.
Well, no, I don't think it was. Well, the thing about it is, with this particular person, Ellen was pressuring him, was like, hey, come on, are you pregnant? You got pregnant, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, hey, I don't really want to talk about this, Ellen. And
Yeah,
then
that's
Ellen,
bad, but the miscarriage is separate from, like, her being shitty.
Well, the thing is, this person had a history of having really difficult time getting children or even getting impregnated in general. And this was known, and that's why she didn't want to say anything. This wasn't, like, done. She didn't know if it was good to go.
No, I agree that it was shitty to coerce her into revealing something she didn't want to. I think that's always shitty. But I'm saying the miscarriage has nothing to do with how shitty it was.
Honestly, I would say it plays a part because it may have not been intentional in the action, but making it on the center stage kind of puts a little more like attention on it and makes it more difficult for the person going through it. Because it's like, if a lot of people didn't know she was pregnant, I doubt a lot of people would know she had a miscarriage.
Okay, so this is my issue with this. I firmly stand that the morality of an action can't involve the consequences, only the information that you had at the time, because otherwise we're delving into like an area of like extraordinary arbitrariness, right?
I think that is a fair point, and I'm not disagreeing with it, but I think it's important to try to keep, I think most people, if not all people, have, at least in their own worldview, good intention, either towards themselves or towards others.
Sure,
So
and she probably had good intentions in trying to coerce her too, but I still think that made it bad. It was bad for her to do that.
No, I acknowledge that it was shitty and bad, but the thing is, just because you had an intention this way, you should also be held accountable to an extent, even if an unintended aspect happened.
So so the problem with this is it just gets so murky. So let's say I kill somebody, like somebody's about if I save somebody's life, this is almost always seen as a good thing, right?
Yeah.
But if I save somebody's life and that person goes and kills 10 people, now suddenly I fucking suck dick because I contributed to the death of these 10 people. That's not the case. I saved a person. I'm a hero still. It didn't matter that they went and killed 10 people, right?
Honestly, that is a fair point. It is kind of arbitrary when it comes into that.
Yeah, because then you could say, well, I've had people say like, well, it only matters out so far, but like then we can't measure it out so far without being completely arbitrary then.
Yeah, you're right.
So either the morality of an action has to only it's based on the information you have at the time of said action.
Yeah.
And at the time of that action, she knew that this person didn't want to do something, and that's just like coercion. This is generally seen as bad. I would consider it to be bad.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I think like the reason I even held that stance to an extent was it's like that's how most people look at it and kind of view other kind of shit. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, shit, dog. What is it? Oh, shit, dog. You caused this to happen, even if it's inadvertent. You still did bad. I don't think people like go too far into the logic of, well, if we apply that standard, it comes to arbitrary really fast.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of what people do is unintentional consequences, like all the fucking time. Fucking
Yeah.
big brain take, yes.
Yeah, so unintended consequences I just feel like don't have any bearing on morality. I just feel like it can't.
What about punishment then? Because we could say, okay, morally, no, they're good or bad. Let's say that. But what about, say, a punishment? So, like, what about stuff like manslaughter?
So what about it?
Okay, so in some manslaughter cases, you have someone that kills somebody unintentionally.
Sure. That's why it's seen as less than murder. We acknowledge the fact that this was not an intentional action, and therefore it's a lesser punishment. And sometimes people actually get off if they prove that it was completely unintentional. Sometimes they don't even serve time for it.
So
right?
People, they should still get punished, though.
It just depends on the circumstances. It depends on if your actions were caused by negligence, like you did have information at the time, but you chose to ignore it, and because of your choosing to ignore it, you caused somebody to die, then yeah, it seems like this is probably punishable. But for instance, if somebody rigged my front door to shoot a gun at somebody who's outside my door, and somebody knocks on my door, and I have no way of knowing it, I have inadvertently killed this person, but in no way am I responsible for their death. Right? Because I had no possibility of having this information at the time.
So the big, I wouldn't say line, but I would say when it comes to you and how you kind of view this stuff, it depends on the amount of how premeditated the aspects are, basically.
Well, not. It doesn't necessarily have to be premeditated. It just has to do with how much information you have at the time about potential outcomes. So another good example. Sure, that could be something that we could include, but for instance, we don't consider people that are mentally unfit to make decisions to be responsible for the decisions that they make, right?
Yes.
That's why claiming insanity is not good, because this implies that we have a high value on the capacity for having the information that would give us an understanding of the consequences of our actions. So similarly, if I just can't possibly have access to the information of consequences, then I'm not at fault for this.
I don't really know anything about that.
So I also really strongly make the argument a lot that in order for the reason why morality and consequences are completely separate from each other is by virtue of what they are. In order for a moral action to occur, we need a moral agent. And we need information. This would qualify as a moral action. In order for a consequence to happen, we don't need either of those things. A rock can fall off a mountain and land in water, and the consequence will be a splash. We have a consequence without a moral agent or information. Right? Okay. But in order for there to be a moral action, we need a rational agent, and we need information about what's going to happen. Correct?
Okay. Yeah.
So it seems like these two things are completely divorced from each other, and I can't find a way to reconcile putting them together.
Shit, you right. Like I said, you just kind of caught me on yours. Oh fuck. Big brain take. Okay, fucking hell of a brain lift. That's good to know.
I'm really big into philosophical and ethics and meta-ethical things, so I just spend a lot more time with them.
To be honest with you, the only reason I even dove into philosophy a little bit was oh, this is important for historical context. Then I fell down the rabbit hole of existentialism, and I barely have been able to climb out of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Give me 1 sec. plug this in. So are like, when you say existentialism, do you mean like nihilist absurdity? Like nihilistic absurdism?
Yeah, I guess some like Camus type shit.
Okay, so I think that there's like a really easy out for like a nihilistic absurdism, is that we can simply accept that it doesn't matter if everything is absurd. Reality is going to be 100% based on how we perceive it, and we can make decisions about how we're going to approach things, which will change the way that we perceive things. Right?
Well, at first time I came to a similar conclusion to that. Where I get tripped up right now, and this is a big thing that I'm still reconciling with myself to an extent, is I don't really have a set up value system. So without a value system, combined with the acknowledgement that we're just kind of living through the absurd, etc., these two combined together kind of lead you to a mentality of, oh, why the fuck am I doing this? Why not just like, oh, Control-Alt-Delete?
So, I think that as far as moral systems go, I don't think that there is any one single. It seems really weird that we feel the need to have like this one clean-cut moral system that covers all bases. Like, I guess, like, I would ask, what is the justification for the necessity of a complete system?
I don't think it's like a necessity. I think it's more of as humans, we're kind of already we want what is it? I guess a clear-cut answer, but in all reality, the world is way more complex than this is this. That combined with how we're taught as children, we're kind of afraid. Everything gets put in black and white most of the time as a child. So it's kind of like that. It's a little hardwired into you.
Yeah, well, I think that there's a desire to always have a clean-cut, single answer for things, but I'm definitely a moral particularist. I think that we can take a combination of different moral ideologies and apply them in a way that seems most appropriate given the circumstances.
Well, I think...
and I think everything else, just like any single moral system that you could possibly have would fall into absurdity and arbitration. It just wouldn't make any sense. So in certain areas, we would be concerned about duty, and in certain areas, we would be concerned about utility. And we can't use either. We can't use either of them across the board. It just wouldn't make sense, right?
Yep.
So I think that we first need to ask the right question about the circumstance. Does this circumstance require utility, or does it require me to fulfill my duty?
Yeah.
And if we approach it that way, we get, ironically, we get a lot more utility in how we approach moral problems. And that's pretty much how I approach things. Or you could even take that into a step deeper and say, how much of this is my duty to deal with, and if I do have some sort of duty to it, how much am I concerned with utility versus duty? Which one of these things takes precedent here? So, like for instance, like I would say I have a duty to my wife to protect her if I can, because we have this contract, to be good to one another to the best of our abilities. However, if I had to either choose saving my wife's life or saving everybody on the planet, I feel like my duty to the utility of the world probably supersedes my one single contract, right?
Yeah.
So these are the sorts of things that we can run into, and we can kind of like weigh these things against each other.
Well, I understand that, but like, I guess that kind of shines light in building more of a value system. But one of my bigger problems, I think this is what a lot of people fall into, especially with this pitfall, is why. And well, what I mean by why is like, oh, why even go through the effort of doing all this if you know at the end of the day there's not really a point at all.
So okay. I can definitely respond to that, but I have to go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back, buddy.
Yeah, take your time. That's cool.
Okay, I'm back.
So long.
So, there's two answers to this. Either one, it doesn't matter at all, or the reason why it matters, if it does matter, it matters based. We would find the answer in like what sort of axiomatic faith that you do have. Do you have any like what sort of things do you presuppose?
Can't really think of any.
Well, I'm pretty sure that we can presuppose that you exist, right?
Oh, okay. I thought you were leaning more towards faith. If I guess presupposition, probably that I exist. That's the only one I can really think of.
The only thing that you can fully subscribe to is that you exist.
Can't even really fully subscribe to that.
So if we want to get like as extreme down to this whole we can go to, like even though the whole I think therefore I am is faulty because the I is not fully justifiable. The only true statement objectively that can ever be made about the universe is that there is a thinking thing.
Dude, I thought you were about to go like full Kierkegaard and be like, oh, fucking I am, therefore I think.
No, that's fucking stupid.
Dude, Kierkegaard was like autistic and it was like, no, dude, there ain't no point, so let's just take a leap of faith, dog. Come on.
Well, I mean, we always take a leap of faith to some degree. Those are what our axioms are.
Well, no, his leap of faith was meaning towards like religious leap of faith in particular.
Oh, so yeah, I just mean like we all have some sort of axiomatic ideas that presuppose certain things, and that's why we go out and live our life and have conversations with people and do the things that we do, right?
Yeah.
Almost everybody has some sort of axiomatic reliance on like the laws of physics. I very strongly presuppose that when I get out of bed that I'm not going to end up falling off a mountain, that the floor that was there yesterday is still going to be there the next day when I wake up. So I have really like a strong amount of confidence that I can roll out of bed and the floor will be there, right?
Yeah.
Right, so we all subscribe to like some sort of axioms at some point or another. Even though the only true statement that could ever be made with 100% certainty is that there is a thinking thing. Just because I'm perceiving that I'm the one thinking doesn't necessarily mean that I am the one thinking, but we can be sure that something is thinking somewhere.
Okay.
That's all that we can ever truly know. But then to have any kind of meaningful conversation, we have to move past that and make some other presuppositions. like a really popular one would be like that math is correct. We presuppose math.
Okay.
And it's very pragmatic to presuppose it. It helps us, and it works. It works in practice. Although it may be faulty, everything that I experience would lead me to believe that this is the case, even though it's not fully justifiable. It's about as justifiable as things can get, right?
Okay.
So then we can presuppose that the way you feel about things are important to you, right?
Okay. Okay.
Would that be fair to say that the things that you feel are important to you?
Will I care what I feel is important?
Yeah, the things that you feel, like your feelings and your emotions and your experiences, those have value to you, correct?
the way I want to answer this is it's like if we're talking realistically, like actual value, no.
Well, I
Personal
guess
value, yes.
Yeah, I mean, value would just be like that you hold it in high regard, right?
Okay.
So we can say that like how you feel and how you experience things are important to you. Therefore, there is an importance in examining morality and moral philosophy and making good moral decisions because it'll impact your experiences.
Okay.
And ideally, if you do it in a way that's pleasing to you, it'll impact your experiences in a positive way. Oh, I just made a big fuck up. I just lost. Damn. So, I mean, that would be the non-arbitrary reason as to why it's useful to pursue it.
Well, no, I'm not arguing if it is or is not useful. What the reason I was stating the statement earlier. Well, I guess to an extent I was arguing that, but the main point that I was asking, or at least stating, was if you acknowledge that there's no real point or meaning in that, that's what I would be saying with like absurdism, etc. It's very hard, at least for me personally, justify getting. Goodness.
Sorry, you cut out. It's very hard to justify what?
It's very hard to justify to yourself getting out of bed or not being absurdly depressed about, oh, so what am I going to do after I'm out of high school? Or what am I going to do after I'm out of college? Or whatever applies to you personally.
So I can give you an extremely pragmatic reason for this. The extremely pragmatic reason of this is that we can't escape it.
Well, you can't escape it. You kill yourself to escape it.
That's true. So why? But then, sure.
You see the dilemma I'm currently at.
Sure. So like I used to know a guy who he would like overly rationalize things to the point where like he's like, well, the only point of existing is to reproduce. I don't see myself ever reproducing. Therefore, I have no purpose, and then I probably should just kill myself, right? And stop taking up resources for others that are going to do so. And this is so if the way that you think and feel are important to you, I guess I would see no reason to like that means that there's something worth doing.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, just because there's like those lapses of importance or I guess care towards them, there's going to be greater amounts of time where you're sitting there. It's like, oh, this is kind of shitty, or oh, I'm working this 40-hour job to do what exactly? Oh, have a kid, have a wife, do all that bullshit, rinse and repeat like everyone else. Or say you're not even that lucky and you're just doing this 40-hour job to survive. Is that even a life worth living at that point?
I would say that there's merit to all experiences.
I guess me and you are in disagreement on that then.
So I would say that my capacity to experience happiness is of high value to me, and if I end my life, I lose that capacity to experience happiness.
You also lose the capacity to feel pain, as well as...
it's just the other side of the coin.
Well,
you
yeah,
can't truly have happiness without knowing pain.
Well, I think my bigger point at this is, and I think you're kind of understanding it to an extent. Well, now, you definitely probably understand the vibe I'm getting here. You seem like a very intelligent guy. Is since I don't really have like it's kind of like I think this is probably the generic. I think the phase I'm going through right now is like a generic thing, like 20-year-olds or late 20-year-olds go through when they're about to hit 30. I'm only like 18, so I guess I'm kind of doing this shit a little early. But
sure.
At least that's what I've been told by a lot of adults I've spoken to about this. They're like, "Oh yeah, no, I didn't deal with this until like I was 28." So you're doing this really early for some reason. But what was it? where it's kind of like, oh, you acknowledge there's not really a point. You kind of acknowledge that you're going to go through a lot of suffering for little fringe moments of happiness, and you don't really see a lot worth living for because maybe your current life predicament's kind of shitty, and you don't see much hope in the future. So why not just say, fuck you, God, or I don't know, fucking Darwinian evolution or some gay shit like that, and sidestep everything and just put a gun in your mouth.
So
This is my thought pattern.
So this sounds less philosophical, and it just sounds more like textbook depression, which I have a lot of experience with.
Well, I think philosophy and like this kind of stuff can go hand in hand. I'm all personal interest of mine is seeing how philosophy can affect psychiatric patients.
Sure. Well, absolutely. It certainly play a role. But would you? So, like, an important question to ask though first, because like depression impedes your ability to perceive good things. So, like, would you describe yourself as a depressed person? You didn't sound hopeful for the future.
Well, give me the criteria to put as someone as depressed then. Because I try to be very careful about overdiagnosing or being worried about that because I think it's counterproductive.
Yeah, depression is a mood disorder consisting of a persistent feeling of sadness and a loss of interest. Also, you could say a major depressive disorder can affect the way you feel, think, and behave, leading to a variety of emotional and physical problems. Does that seem to fit the bill?
Only one I can really say is it's not really constant sadness. It's more constant meh. With like, there's like little moments where it's like, oh fuck yeah, dude, this is this. But like, I don't really have joy for much anymore. That's a good way to put it. Where it's more like everything. Fucking Christ, dude. What the fuck? No.
Yeah, it just sounds like you're depressed, buddy. And like I've been there. So like one thing that's really important to keep in mind is that you didn't used to feel this way at some point, right? And even you yourself described this as a phase. You said, I'm at this phase.
Well, I'm assuming it's a phase. I don't know. It's been like this for probably like a year, half a year to a year. Oh, fuck me. Goddamn, I killed myself. No.
Oh, what are you playing?
I'm playing Fall Guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about the conversation, so I fucking jump off the edge, like out of instinct of just hopping around. No, I'll just load up on WoW. That'll be easier to talk and do that.
Say on WoW?
Yeah, WoW.
I play WoW too, buddy. You play Horde, right?
Know, oh, fuck no, dude. Alliance Classic.
Okay, never mind. I gotta go.
Yeah, no.
I'm just kidding.
Dude, fuck me. I tried to get my friend to play Horde, but he's like, no Alliance. I was like, okay. But, anyway.
I was talking to some chick, and I was like, oh shit, you play WoW, we can play together. She's like, I play Alliance. I was like, I ain't making a fucking character to play with you.
Oh, fuck me. It's too much of a pain in the ass. Do you play Classic or Retail?
I play Retail.
I fucking my friends keep on going about the Shadowlands expansion or some shit like that.
I'm so excited.
Like, yeah, they are too. But to get back on the fucking point, the thing about this was this is gonna sound like the most cliche bullshit ever, but this is more something that like lit the fire, and then I fell into this pit. Whereas like the beginning of fucking junior year was probably the peak of my life. Like I can't even describe it. Like probably the best, happiest feeling I've ever had. Where it's like it was genuinely consistent contentment and happiness. I've never been at that point ever in my life. And then I got caught up on a bitch because first time ever doing this kind of shit. And then I fucking, because I have a lot of not even insecurities. I would say, what the fuck is the exact wording? It would be shit. What the fuck is it called? Fucking. You know what a cognitive bias is, at least when it comes to like, psychology and shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Basic to describe like the fucking, I guess the stew of fucking mental bullshit is I was diagnosed with autism at a young age, like probably fucking 8. I kind of doubt the diagnosis, or if I do have it, it's very, very mild. But the insecurity is still there because it's like if a doctor labels you as tisms, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm socially retarded, even if you're like moderately okay at social bullshit. But anyway, so you throw that together, And as I'm talking to people and building these relationships, etc., everything's going fucking amazing. I finally branch out towards women. I'm like, okay, so we've come so far right now. The next logical step is if I can get a girlfriend and do all that bullshit, I'm content. And what I mean by content is I finally made all the check marks of being a normal fucking person.
What's the desire to be more than like to reach out to like normalcy? Because I got to tell you, buddy, I'm quite not normal, and my life's fucking dope.
Well, the thing is, almost everything in my life, because I'm very much a person of if I want it, I get it.
Yeah, same.
Like, I'm very like relentless with it. Like, fuck, I'm like only
ambitious.
Fucking, yeah, well, yeah, dude, I want some shit. The more recent problem is I have no ambition for anything, so it's kind of like, oh, I don't really give a shit. So like, the ambition's kind of gone out the window a while ago. But anyway, the point that I'm getting at is I've been able to achieve anything. When I wrestled and boxed, I just drilled more until I was confident in my skills. When it came to getting money, I just worked hard enough and got to that. When it comes to social interaction, I read books, I interacted, I forced myself to expand and expand and expand, but I never felt content with it. So I had a preconceived check mark in the back of my head, where it was like, once you reach this, you did it. Okay, you've reached your goal, you're good to go, bro. You don't need to stress this anymore because you've proven yourself as competent.
Sure.
And that's where like cognitive bias started setting in, where it's like I'll look for any piece of information I can to be like, no, what actually, you didn't reach this check mark. You're just being a retard. Stop being stupid. Get back to work. Okay.
So it seems like you've imposed a lot of rules on yourself, and like you're not meeting the expectations that you've set for yourself.
Yeah. The thing is, like, I had a fucking what is it? I'm a very hypercritical person, so like when you throw all of these together, it honestly, I think this was an inevitable cocktail of sending me into some kind of spiral eventually. Social insecurities, cognitive bias, high standard, being hard on yourself naturally, possibility of autism. So it's kind of like this is a grenade waiting to go off, to be honest.
Sure.
So it's kind of like, oh, fuck. But, I just fucking, I don't know what to say. It's like, I don't know how I went from, like, one of the best moments in my life, like, everything's fucking going right for once. Varsity wrestler, fucking tons of friends, doing shit with people, making good money, everything's perfect. And then I get fucked up over one bitch. Because what the chick did to me was foul as fuck. But I get hooked up on one chick. This spirals me into like fucking emo, depressed, sad shit. This is the first chick I ever actually genuinely liked. And it's like, and I spiraled into that for like a few months. Because I think that's a normal reaction for like any teenager, the first time ever doing this kind of shit, at least for a month or so.
Sure, absolutely.
The thing is, by the time I pulled myself out of it, everything was fine. But then I started getting paranoid. And that's another big thing I have. I'm a very paranoid person to an extent. Because I think part of it is the cognitive bias starts kicking in a little bit. Where I'll say, okay, there's a reason this person did what they did. They did this, oh no, they hate me. So you go to that assumption. Once you started going to the assumption that everyone hates you, you look for any small interaction to be like, oh yeah, this is proof that they hate you. So that causes you to start shutting yourself off. When you start shutting yourself off, it becomes worse, and this bias keeps feeding into itself. And then it kept going for so long that, hold on, I better get close because my parents hear me. I'm not going to do this. Long story short, I spoke to a teacher about some, I was asking her, because the way I deal with shit is I'll ask, hey, I'll ask outside opinions on, hey, am I socially good, etc. In hindsight, that's so fucking autistic because everyone has different perceptions of you. So no one has the actual correct answer, but that's a lesson I had to learn hardly. But anyway, the gist of it is, long story short, I was sent to a shrink's office because she wanted to see if I was suicidal because I referenced to a teacher that I thought about offing myself. And around this time, you know when you start becoming comfortable with the idea of killing yourself or the idea of you being dead, and it's just in the back of your head a shit ton?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's the active suicide or whatever the fuck it's called. Anyway, it was
Well,
kind
you're
of at
flirting
that
with the
point-
idea of it, at least.
Oh yeah, no. I admitted that to a teacher. I got sent to a shrink's office. I had to lie and bullshit to her so fucking much. And long story short, she kind of called me on a little bit because she said to me, "It was like, Tyler, I don't think you're suicidal." And then this is when she looked me dead in the eyes and we stopped walking in the hall. She said, "But you're also a really smart kid, so you could easily be lying to me." And she just looked at me. And I was like, "Oh shit, she knows. She knows." Oh fuck. Hold up. Pardon me for a second. I gotta use the restroom. I'm sorry about that fucking vomit of words and shit.
No, you're good, buddy.
Okay, my headphones on. One moment. Okay, hello?
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
Anyway, for the record, I'm sorry about this whole fucking vomit of words and all that bullshit. And to be
No,
honest
you're
with
good,
you,
my dude.
Like, you know, I guess this will prove my point to an extent. Like, as I'm in the restroom, I was literally thinking, oh, dude, this dude probably thinks I'm some whiny, edgy bitch. I need to shut the fuck up.
Not at all, buddy. You're good. Yeah, it just sounds like textbook depression, my dude. Depression will lead you down all these things, and I think it's really helpful to understand that, like, that's what it is. And then you can acknowledge it, and then you can deal with it moving forward, you know?
Well, the problem is, first off, I'm not going on meds. The only thing I would I've been experimenting with CBD oil and shit like that, and that kind of helps, but I have to take like 4 to 5 milliliters of CBD oil, dude. Like, I have to take a shit ton. But
sometimes it'd be like that.
Oh, dude, it's fucking... Dude, that shit had me going for a little bit. That shit was awesome. It's fucked up, but I try to avoid drugs and shit because I'm very much a person of, oh, hey, you need to be able to do this by yourself, and only in extreme situations you should go out towards like a substance.
Why? What's the justification, like value justification for this?
I think the value justification for me is how much of that is you and how much of that is a substance altering you.
Why is that relevant?
Well, that's relevant because what happens if you don't have that available? As well as I think you build a certain amount of mental fortitude and self-determination and drive if you're able to push through certain things by yourself. Now, obviously, there's certain, like, say you have a chemical imbalance and you can prove that scientifically.
Yeah.
That's like, oh, fuck yeah, of course you should get medication. I'm not telling you to go wolf through that. But I think a lot of people are very quick to go to a substance.
Sure. And this is somehow bad. I mean, like a solution's a solution, right? If what you're doing isn't working and so there's a solution available, aren't you just being like willfully inadequate at this point?
I think a lot of where this thought pattern goes is I'm very much a person of do it yourself and only turn to others when you need help. And that's why, and that's kind of my policy with meds like this, where it's like I'm not inherently against it at all. Like I said, like if you could prove scientifically through, say, a brain scan, etc. I know Germany is very good about this before prescribing medication. If you can prove, oh, hey, this person definitely has a chemical imbalance, so they could use it. Yeah, of course they need medication. But I'm not really inherently a fan of, say, maybe you have anxiety.
Sure.
And you haven't tried to personally work through it yourself, or you say something like, say, exposure therapy, which I'm also a really big fan of exposure therapy, to push yourself out of your problem. It's kind of like, you shouldn't immediately turn to a substance. That's like a secondary response.
Yeah, sure, but so like if you're struggling right now, I guess I don't see where it's a how this is falling in line with that.
Well, the thing is, I wouldn't say I'm struggling right now because it's like I understand what happened. I understand what is happening. The big problem right now is actually, since you fucking said you have experience with this, you know when you first cross that line of like any depression, etc., where it's like, and you're kind of out of at least the thicket of it. You're like, oh, can I go back? Like, is it even possible to go back? That's kind of where I'm at right now because I don't believe it is.
Yeah, but you also have to admit your own ignorance and capacity to understand whether or not it is and like what it would take to get there. Like, do you ever play like any kind of strategy games or anything like that?
Fucking dude, Total War, Civ, fucking Axis and Allies, shit like that.
Have you ever been in a situation where you're like, dude, I just absolutely fucking lose, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh fuck, I can win! Holy shit! And it all sort of comes together, and like the fog is cleared, and you just see all the pieces fall into place. You're like, oh fuck, dude, I'm gonna get this, and then you win.
In what?
Yeah.
So we're using like a strategy game as like a allegory for getting out of depression here.
Oh yeah.
So like, have you ever experienced that, where like you just didn't see your path forward?
I guess so, yeah. Like saying a Hoy game or some shit.
So what I'm trying to say here is that just because you can't see a solution right now doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. You have to take a bit of humility here and understand that this is sort of a new experience for you, and that you even so like you're not super good at navigating it yet. And in time, you're gonna get the skills that you need to just by virtue of practice makes perfect. You're gonna be able to get out of this. Also, I didn't realize we had so many extra people in here. I gotta let you guys know I am streaming. Does anybody have an issue with that?
No,
that's fine.
Okay, cool.
Are you streaming us?
Yeah, I'm streaming my whole computer.
He's on Twitch, so they'll be able to.
The voice will be, the voice will be emitted on.
Yeah. Everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
It's like the
popcorn, so.
It's like that stupid the what's it called? Like the picture with the two miners, where the guy's like digging and stops right before the diamonds. Like that'd be the analogy as an RTS
I do believe though that it's like a little bit against the server rules. I'm not sure. Are you?
No, I've been very. Yeah, I used to actually be a mod here too.
Oh, okay.
As long as I get everybody's consent, we're good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Consent is always required.
Yeah, that's the issue with showing DMs and shit, right? Is like.
Yeah. Well, I'm not showing the server at all.
No, true. I'm just saying in general. Like the issue with showing DMs is if like you don't.
He's using us for content, basically.
Yeah, dude, he's farming Twitch viewers out of random Discord players.
Content.
Playing Hearthstone, so he has to actually do something interesting on the side.
Yeah, because Hearthstone's a fucking resident sleeper game.
But no. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it works. It's not like just one day just poof, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
it sort of is like alright, I've got to walk this back, and unless you put a band-aid on it and don't actually deal with it. Or
That's
you know
fair
what I
too.
mean?
Yeah, that's completely fair as well.
Because it's like, I could have went and got like an antidepressant and just acted like I was happy and just like forced myself to be happy. But that doesn't necessarily deal with a real issue either.
Correct.
In a way, it just prolongs suffering.
It could. Yeah.
But I don't know.
So is that perspective helpful, Nick?
The thing about it is, how long do I have to keep looking? Because it's like, I had like a 6-month cooldown period where everything, like, it chilled the fuck out. Because, like, before the virus and all that shit,
Yeah.
bro, I was fucking batshit. Like, I was, like, actually batshit insane. Like, I'm reading, like, I had a diary at the time because a friend of mine, a friend of mine was talking about Carl Jung. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember when Jung was going a little crazy. So we started writing notes. I was like, you know what, let's see what fucking Papa Nick is like when he's a little more sane. I was fucking crazy. I was fucking insane. Like, the most paranoid, depressive bullshit all the time.
Were you anxious too? Or were you
Dude,
just...
okay. You know what derealization is?
Yeah. I know the basic idea, yes.
It was that for about 3 or 4 months nonstop. I literally thought I was going insane for a little bit.
Yeah, I've got depersonalization and have for about the last 5 years.
Like, that was weird at first. It was like actually fucking insane at first. It was like, bro, am I real? What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, I used to wake up. I had an alarm with a notebook attached to it that had my name, the date, and my friend's name and my school name attached to it. And I have to wake up to that every day for about 3 months. And that's depersonalization. Is very similar.
Well, then I just had depression.
Nah, dude, that shit was fucking. That shit was trippy as fuck. But, it was like that.
I mean,
anxiety and all. Like, anxiety usually spawns derealization. But
do you have so here's a question. Do you have a lot of responsibility in your life?
oh, dude, at that point I was a varsity wrestler. I was a part of 3 clubs I was attending daily. I was working on the weekends. I was managing social relationships as well at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, basically,
Well, yeah,
life
yeah.
hit me in the nuts and everything fell on me, and it just did not go well.
So basically, you had too much shit going on. Then you had catastrophe, and bam, yeah, I'm with you. That's, I mean, like what Dio was saying earlier. That's one way that I found you can sort of like get out of the rut is by taking, I don't know, getting a dog or like, which that's an extreme example, but taking responsibility for things, right? Because it gives you a reason to do stuff. It gives you a reason to get up out of bed, like shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's unavoidable, where there's just shit's gonna kind of go the way it goes at first, and you've got to figure out how to recover from it.
Well, the current part that I'm recovering right now, before I went on that tangent about fucking how batshit insane I was, I'm like just reading through that fucking diary, dude. Like, I remember reading fucking, it had like notes for every class period. It was like, I was crazy. Fucking, I was even reading Uncle Ted's Manifesto at the time. I was fixated on that. I was like even writing notes and shit on it. But what was it? The current predicament I'm in right now is where it's like everything's cooled off, but I have no idea where to go from here. At least mildly cooled off.
What do you mean you don't know where to go? Like,
You're saying what's
you
the
don't
next
know,
step?
like you don't know how to fill your time, or like,
Oh, dude, I can fill my time with tons of clubs, fucking forcing myself to interact with friends, etc. Like, let's give you an example. Like, I thought, okay, so let's look at this problem. Because the way I treat it is, like, let's see the problem, why this is this. My first thought was, okay, let's get working out back up. Let's start waking back up, and let's go back into the old schedule that you were doing when you were having a good time. I went back to that. It didn't really fix it at all. Okay, I was like, okay, let's do some other shit into this. Maybe I've just lost interest in this. Let's go hang out with somebody and do that. Didn't really care for that either. It didn't feel like a chore, but it was just meh. Okay, let's go back to video games, and that's also a myth. Let's go read books. That kind of help, but not really. Like it was very niche things that I was like fixated on.
Do you have an addictive personality in nature?
Oh, dude, absurdly.
Okay, cool. Which, not cool because it's unhealthy. I'm the same way.
Oh,
It's
dude,
unhealthy in the long run.
Oh, that's why I don't take liquor or weed or any of that. Like, I got my first shot, which be on my brother's 21st birthday, and my immediate reaction was, I want more.
Well, yeah, because the first two suck. They just mellow you out. After that, it gets fun.
Ah, dude, you gave me like 5 or 6 shots of Crown
Oh,
Royal.
okay. Yeah.
Ah, dude,
But
I was buzzed.
I mean, there's not. I don't know. Like you was saying earlier, there's not really like a path. You know what I mean? There's no fucking tutorial to figure shit out. You just kind of go. Yeah, like you just. It's like what your parents always say. There's no book on how to raise a child. Like it's annoying, but they're fucking right. You just kind of figure shit out. Where it's the same way with growing up or dealing with certain issues or whatever it is. Like you could look at other examples of how other people did it, but there's not just like a way that, you know what I mean, we can fucking make someone better. And even if we could, that'd be unhealthy too. That might be worse, in all honesty.
Perhaps.
Just because then they never deal with the underlying issues that either like caused or manifest. But no, it's like a climb. You know what I mean? Where you look at this big ass fucking wall and you're like, huh, this doesn't seem possible right now. And then you start walking around the bottom. Well, what?
I climbed for like 3 or 4. Well, it cooled down, and after the cooldown period, I've been climbing for like a few months.
Yeah, but think about it this way, man. Life is a climb. Okay? So like you're always gonna be climbing. That's just how shit works.
Well, the thing is, you missed part of the conversation earlier. Dio was here for. No, you didn't do anything wrong. Dio, like, this kind of feeds into the point I was saying to Dio earlier, where it was kind of like, if you acknowledge that's reality, why not just sidestep life?
What do you mean?
Suicide.
Yeah, sidestep.
You mean like, okay, so you mean like, so the way that I live life, or my outlook anyways, maybe this will help out, because my outlook is basically that life is inherently suffering, right? Like on a, well, alright, this might be terrible, but
that's the Buddhist philosophy.
So yeah, so like life is basically suffering, and the way that you make it to where life has meaning, and life has no inherent meaning either, in my opinion. You give yourself responsibility because that gives you a reason to get up and do things, right? And also, you can't be happy without knowing what sadness is, right? You have to have light and dark, like the yin and the yang and shit like that. Where that's just, you don't know how to be happy if you've never, well, you know, it depends, because humans are fucking weird. But you can't appreciate happiness until you've been sad. Just like you can't dread sadness until you've been happy. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but that feeds into the point of why not just like sidestep?
Well, okay, in my example, I was suicidal for a little bit. And every time I even thought about that, I saw my mom. And I just couldn't do it. Well, my mom also, I lost a brother, too.
Well, yeah,
so,
but
like,
at that point, it's kind of like, you're just, well, the thing is, first off, I'm in a similar boat. Not the brother thing, but the
no,
family,
it's fine.
etc.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of vibing here. I'm like, can't really do it, but it's there. I'm just gonna have to wait until they kick the bucket if I ever get to that point again.
Well, I think Nick's saying he's more been flirting with the idea of suicide rather than actually being suicidal.
Yeah, which, yeah. So what I would say, dude, is they're not gonna kick the bucket for quite a fucking while. You might want to find a way to enjoy the shit while you're in the shit. Because, I don't know, let's say your parents are 40, right? Would that be close by, like, any stretch?
43, 42, so I gotta chill out for, like, probably 30 years if I were to...
Yeah.
Myself.
See, there's no point of just waiting on that day to come, you know what I mean? you might as well enjoy it and try to make the most out of it and just fucking embrace it, dude. Does that make sense? Because if we wait until we'd be able to do it, we're gonna have to wait a long time.
So I
hopefully,
think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, hopefully by the time that you'd be able to do that, you wouldn't feel that way anymore. You know what I mean? You would have your views would have changed, or your life would have improved. Improve's not the right word, but does that make sense?
At least the vibe I'm getting from that is everything sucks. And you were born into a shitty situation and everything is inherently ass. But you gotta suffer because other people said, no, I wanted someone to bring it in to make my life a little less shitty by having an outlet of joy.
Well,
so I have to sit here and wait and trudge through all this bullshit because they were greedy.
I mean, so like it's a really cynical view, right? Where technically, yes, you could see it that way, or you could see the like, I'm lucky to be alive, the likelihood of this happening is like 1 in whatever fucking many, you know what I mean? It all depends on how you look at shit.
Why be lucky to be alive, dude? Fucking, I'm going into a job market when a recession's about to hit. The environment's going to fucking ass. I'm in a fucking lower income area. I have fucking autism. So God kind of was like, no, dog, you're going to even get a harder start. I got fucking not really fucked up feet, but enough feet to be fucked up by the time I'm older that I'm going to have a terrible foot pain. Where if I run 4 or 5 miles and I have to do that for my sports and shit, it fucking hurts to walk afterwards. It's kind of like I've gotten dealt so many shitty fucking cards where it's kind of like, this is fucking bullshit. This is fucking bullshit.
So Nick, do you know what like deliberate thinking is?
No, let's hear it.
Okay, so this has helped me in my life literally more than any single thing has, and I attribute it 100% to all the successes that I have and why like my life is super fucking dope. So the idea here is that what's a good example here? Have you ever seen the movie 23, the number 23?
No.
Okay. So basically, this guy reads this book and he starts noticing the number 23 everywhere. And then this is simply explained by the idea that when you're looking for something, you're going to notice it more. So the idea here is that when you deliberately think about things, you're going to notice it more. So the idea here is that we want to spend a lot of our active thinking time thinking about the things that we want and not thinking about the things that we don't want, because we're going to see these things. We're going to, if I spend a lot of time thinking about like the things that I desire, whenever there's an avenue for me to acquire the things that I desire, it's going to be much more apparent than if I'm thinking about the things that I don't want. So like for instance, if I decide that I want, if I'm really pissed that I have a shitty job and I spend all my time thinking about how shitty my job is, I'm not going to take a bunch of steps that I need to find a better job. I'm just going to be focusing on how unfortunate it is. Whereas if I think about actively like I want a better job, I'm gonna be listening when I'm on the internet browsing and I see something about a job. I'm gonna click on that. I'm gonna look into it. This is a way for me to use my active thoughts to gear me in the direction that I want to go. And in turn, too, it's going to give me a more positive outlook on the goals that I'm trying to achieve as well. Does that make sense? So, like, your subconscious doesn't hear the word, like, doesn't hear negatives. Like, if you say, like, I don't want this problem, your subconscious, like, your brain's just hearing this problem. So your subconscious is going to focus on the problem. Whereas if you like, consciously think about the solution, your subconscious is going to spend more time thinking about a solution. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Well, no, I understand the point that you're getting at, but I don't focus on woe is me. I just acknowledge, and the part of the reason I'm saying this is I'm looking at this whole conversation, at least with the Noah part, very cynically, because it's kind of like, that's kind of what this is. I don't immediately have on the thought of, I'm autistic, or I have a few problems, or blah 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 blah. I've dealt with these for so many years that I accept this is part of life, and I'm not immediately thinking on the negative. The problem is when you're stuck in a position, and you would know this because you've dealt with this, at least from what you said a moment ago, where it's like, everything's kind of shitty right now, and you don't know how the fuck to climb out, and you're kind of at a point where it's like, where the fuck do I go? I have no idea where the fuck to go. You're gonna kind of sit there and look at like, oh, these are kind of shitty. You're gonna look for solutions, and I'm constantly, the fact that I'm speaking to you right now kind of proves the point that I am looking for solutions, because I noticed, okay, this nigga is a big brain when it comes to speak. He might be able to help me.
No, so I think there's a bit of a misunderstanding here. I'm not saying that you're saying woe is me, but I'm saying that thinking about the things that you want actively a lot will help you find those solutions. So like when we talked about like playing Civ, and they're just like, I have no way of fucking winning. This guy has way too many troops here at this spot, and like there's no way that I'm gonna be able to overcome them. And you just think like, man, I wish I could just get like my I don't know, like I haven't played a whole lot of Civ, but like I wish I could get my history up enough, like so that I can acquire this thing that would help me beat that. And if I keep on like, if I spend more time thinking about how many troops he has, and like I keep on like recruiting more of my resources away from history into doing that, then I'm probably not going to end up doing it. But if I focus on like upgrading my history, and that's like what's on my mind the whole time, and I'm going to allocate my resources to staving him off long enough for me able to get my history up long enough to be able to get the thing that I need to win. Do you see what I mean? It's just allocating your mental resources in a way that's going to increase your likelihood of what we would define as success in this case, like being happy and fulfilled.
So, it's like positive thinking brings positive results. Is basic. Like
thoughts become things.
Yeah,
And once I put that into like practice in my life, like my life became magnitudes better. This has been hands down the most useful thing ever for me. Like honestly, like I don't want for much like that I don't end up getting. I've been by my own measures of success extremely successful in my life, and I am absolutely convinced that this is the reason for this.
I mean, shit, I can tell you exactly when it clicked for me, if you want. Like, where it was fucking, I don't know. I'd been depressed for, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years. Suicidal for like a year and a half. And I just started watching like super political YouTube shit because the 2016 election was coming up, right? So I just was Destiny, Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, Bosch, like everybody. Like I just wanted to know everything, you know what I mean? Yeah. Which, truthfully, I went like the Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson route, which, looking back on it, wasn't the most productive way, but I'm here now, so it's whatever. Right?
Sure.
But for all the shit that everybody says about Jordan Peterson, that dude opened like my mind, like through his lectures and through his all non-political shit about the human experience and other things like that, and like depression issues and stuff. If you look at his actual lectures, where that was the start, I want to say that was like, as retarded as this sounds, I want to say that was like the start of the climb, because I finally could see that the wall it wasn't a wall, it was just this like curtain that moved out of the way, and then I was able to walk my path.
I've been, first off, thank you for admitting personal shit, because it takes a lot to do that, and same goes to you.
Well, yeah, dude, I'm trying to help.
Dude, that shows you as a caring human being. But the thing is, I've been down that rabbit hole before, of the self-help rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you, if anything, I would say it did a detriment. But the reason it did a detriment is the way my mind works naturally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't stop trying to process something until it works in my head. Like, it literally will not stop.
So, yeah, you get stuck.
Yeah, no, it will
like
literally not go away.
Circular thing.
Oh, fuck,
I get that.
So I'm like prone to this kind of like overthinking autistic garbage.
Well, I mean, don't call it garbage. Like, I wouldn't consider that garbage. I would consider that if I can't understand something, would wording it as you have an obsession to understand be correct?
Yeah, pretty much. If it piques my interest.
Yeah, I mean, there's two ways to go about that, I guess. You fucking stick your ass, go face down, ass up into the rabbit hole and figure out exactly what you need to figure out. or just, which the second option isn't, theoretically it's an option, but it's way harder to do, is just pull your head out of it and say, fuck this. Right? Which, I don't know. If your brain works where you have to know and you, like, are basically motivated by knowledge, which is what it sounds like, just, I guess just keep going. Do the research, you know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, I've done the research to an extent on a lot of this, because one thing I can say with certainty about these topics, and I don't want to be egotistical about this, but
no, you're good.
I'm like really fucking introspective, and I understand what causes what, and I acknowledge why it's causing what.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is you can acknowledge it, but a lot of this stuff, like say a cognitive bias, the only way really to defeat that kind of stuff is acknowledge it's there, and that takes a really long time of constantly acknowledging it for a long fucking time before it even starts to go away. And I'm only in the beginning stages of like getting rid of it.
No, yeah. I mean, another example of that shit is like, what's it called? Basically, my family history is a bunch of drug addicts, right? So I just got a minefield left and right, can't do any fun stuff. Like, I have to pay attention to how much I'm drinking, if I'm drinking, and like how often I am, because I will get into the habit of doing it, and just doing it because I'm doing it. Which I fucked up and like smoked a cigarette, and now I smoke cigarettes now, you know what I mean? Yeah. Where, like, I'm with you, I understand exactly what you're saying. Where it takes forever to fully, like, you could say something, but even you don't fully get it or comprehend it at that moment. It does take time. But it might, honestly, dude, it might be helpful for you to fucking storyboard shit. Like, as stupid as this is gonna sound, like, don't get a you can get a journal if you want, but like, if you have an idea and you're just, you have to figure something out, then sit down for an hour and like take a topic and really pull it apart from every angle and figure it all the way out and like develop an opinion that's solely yours, that you feel that you came to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which the equivalent of that, I guess, is like listening to every type of, we'll go with politics, listening to the left wing and the right wing and the moderates and finding out where you lie. But it sounds like if you do that, it causes more issues, right? Because then the way that, from what I'm understanding, the way your brain will work is you have to go back through and like fact check everybody and figure out exactly what they were saying and all of this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yo, so just do yourself the favor and fucking pick a topic and just figure it out. Or come in here, you know what I mean? And pick a topic and like find someone that you're cool with, or make a friend and be like, hey man, I got a question. Or like, a good dude to talk to is Pavlov's dog. Because he'll give you a question and then he'll just let you think through it on your own and like verbalize that, and he'll kind of keep the conversation going where, or like provide you the avenue to come to conclusions, but not sway your opinion in one way or another. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do that. It'll help you. Shit, I had to do that because a lot of the shit that I was spouting was just bullshit that I heard that was useless, that didn't really mean a whole lot. Like,
sometimes it'd be like that.
Yeah, sometimes you just turn into a mouthpiece. Not on purpose or anything, it's just, like, because not everybody cares about where their opinions come from, you know what I mean? I used to be like, whatever sounds right, that's what I'm going with. Where it's like, no, like, you gotta look into shit and really, like, you actually have to know what you're talking about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I said earlier, in a different VC, literally, that everybody's like one Wikipedia page from not knowing what the fuck they're talking about. Like, everybody's read into it a little bit and like puts their PhD on the computer and is like, look, I'm a professional, I know what I'm saying. And it's like, I mean, if it took the one wiki article away, no. But people are,
I mean, that's a bit of an
bullshit.
overgeneralization, but
True, but like, which I guess because I'm on the Discord VC called The Intellectualist, it's probably heightened quite a bit. I guess that's pretty unfair for me to say, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
At least in here, I feel that a lot, where it's just like, we're all experts and we have totally different opinions. Where it's like, well, how could this be?
Well, I mean, there's experts in fields of all kinds of things disagree about stuff, you know?
No, yeah, I'm with you.
obviously, there's certain consensus in certain areas. Like, for instance, the medical community is absolutely not in conflict whatsoever. That there is no medical use for treating COVID with hydroxychloroquine. But idiots like to debate that. But you will never hear an expert say that.
Well, so the issue with that is it was like one study done really early with a really small sample size that showed it could help with recovery time. And like every once in a while, there's a small study that'll show it, or like. But the issue
experts
is,
understand the difference.
Well, yeah, but the majority of it is everybody kind of agrees, and the majority of studies show that it doesn't help.
Yeah, so there's no experts that are preaching this.
Well, yeah, but a lot of people.
I don't know about that.
The issue with that is also a lot of people don't trust Fauci and a lot of others. Like, there's just a bunch of. Oh, America's so fucked.
And see, this is what I mean. I have yet to find a single expert that says this.
What about a Yale professor of epidemiology?
If you could link me a study, I'd be happy to take a look at it.
Before we move on from that, I just wanted to say, like, I was listening, but I really don't think that things like depression and politics should be mixing, like, in the slightest. Like, I think that when, like, in terms of, like, if you're depressed and shit, like, this is something that, you know, perhaps you should look towards antidepressants or psychiatric help, but not, I don't know, politics and talking to people online. I don't think this helps in any way.
I think it helps. I don't think it necessarily would help as much as immediately fixing the problem, right?
No, because I think that you can end up getting in, like, circles with other depressed people and kind of, like, perpetuating each other's depression, and I don't know, I just don't think that people in general are qualified enough to really know how to tackle this situation. I think it's more of a clinical issue than it is a societal one, or something that you should go about in that way.
Yeah. I get that.
Like, a lot of people who end up joining extremist groups end up doing so because they're depressed and looking for a place to fit in.
Well, yeah. Yo, I'm starting a cult if anybody wants to join. But, no, I feel you. I mean, it's reasonable. From what I heard earlier, yeah. I don't know. There was something before, I think, like, cautioned me to not go that route. Are you talking about Jonathan Smith, VinceCon? That guy?
Jonathan
What's
Smith?
up, Noah? How you doing, man?
What up, pal? Is that the guy that we're referring to, the ill dude?
Yeah, I actually have a string of them. They've been coming out faster and faster lately because more and more people are realizing that there's a criteria that you have to adhere to for the test. You have to get to the people early enough within the diagnosis of the positive symptoms plus test, and then you run HCQ plus Z-Pack. And so they're finding that all of those studies, the recent ones that are being done, where they get the people early, there's no lung deterioration yet, and they use HCQ plus Z-Pack, almost near 90% recovery. And it's actually so rapid recovery, their hospital stay is limited.
Wait, isn't there already roughly a 90% recovery rate for COVID patients to begin
No,
with?
but this is people who have already, these are people who are infected, like they actually have it.
Yeah, so like mortality rate on the high end is like 10%, which would mean that your average person has a 90% chance recovery rate regardless of treatment. Right?
Right, but these people are having comorbidities and they're seeking this out because there is no vaccine yet, and they don't want to end up on a ventilator because that is a 7 to 10 chance you're going to die. And so these people are actually very happy. I mean, even New Jersey City Council, his brother got COVID, and he was like, he couldn't breathe, he couldn't walk, and all of a sudden he did the HCQ plus Z-Pack because they got it early enough, and he recovered in 36 hours. So your point is correct. Maybe it's just that they would have recovered anyway. I just wanted to throw it out there, and yeah.
Let's see, cause yeah, like let's see, what? I'm pretty sure that like we're also hitting the 90% for like most people don't end up on ventilators.
Holy shit, this is recent. Lisa's article. Oh. Well, the idea is people don't understand that hydroxychloroquine wasn't like being touted as a cure or some stupid shit.
No.
It was to help with the recovery. Like you already lived. That was the other thing. is people thought it like made it like your survival rate goes up. It doesn't. It just makes the
No.
recovery easier.
Those
or
first tests
faster.
that we were talking about, to your point, these people had heavy lung damage. They were in a lot of pain, right? They couldn't breathe at all without ventilation. And then the dosages they were giving them of HCQ were so high compared to what they're doing now. They get it early, small doses, continuously with Z-Pack, and somehow that's actually changing the results. Like, it's just night and day. So now people are...
I thought all
and
the early
are-
studies had azithromycin in them.
What?
I thought pretty much every early study did a combination of hydroxychloroquine and Z-Pack.
Yeah, but they were getting people who were way too far gone already, and they were doing high dosages.
Yeah, but they also did studies with lower dosages as well.
Oh yeah. So look, I think we can all admit that as humans tackling a crisis, we're going to learn as we go forward. We can't hold it against the people in the beginning for not having.
I'm not
enough
blaming
experience
anybody.
with it yet. No, I'm saying we can't blame the people in the beginning for not having enough experience with the vector, and so that's what people are finding. They're getting more refined in their approach to these tests, and these guys are practicing actual, they're practicing their medicine. That's what they do, and so they're actually getting better.
Oh, yeah.
The results are improving. You know what I mean? Like I can't hold it against the people in the beginning for getting it wrong, so I'm not going to do that. But I
Yeah.
will say that the advancements that we're seeing now are awesome.
Well, literally what the article says is this Rice, what's his name? Not his name, but at the first stage, it's a flu-like illness. If we begin treatment immediately, you almost be certain to be cured in a few days. But
And that's
it's
what
important.
Diodici is saying, right? He's saying that they would recover, like they're recovering, basically. I think that's
Yeah,
I feel like
where
that's the same thing, right?
there's a second stage. They're breaking it up in 2 stages now. Where if you get pneumonia, or the second stage is high risk, where it causes pneumonia and attacks many organs, including the heart.
Yeah,
In this
brain.
stage, hydroxychloroquine doesn't do shit. Completely useless. But if you could catch it early, it might help. Or it does help, is what they're saying.
Well, maybe, but we don't have any hard evidence that like shows this. We have
Well,
a couple
yeah.
of really small sample studies that suggest that maybe it might.
There's a doctor that already treated, I think, 1,200 people, and so there's lots. There's more studies than these ones that we're talking about, and they're recent, very recent. So I'm just interested because it's such a cheap solution compared to either remdesivir or.
Well,
the
the
vaccines
steroid's
that-
cheaper. It's been
We
proven
saw-
to be effective.
Isn't Bill Gates trying to make the vaccine like $3 or some shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
We're
sure.
working with
I'm
India.
not sure of the cost. Yeah.
I think he
I
said.
think-
I saw that he was going to spend like $150 million or something.
Yeah, that's pretty legit.
That he was trying to make it as cheap as possible, which
Well,
could have been
the
like,
government gave him 500 million
yeah, which is, I mean,
for the first set of research. So to just try to come out with a candidate for the vaccine distribution,
Yeah.
and they're going to forego tests for it. So that's interesting.
well, did you see that Russia said they already have a vaccine?
Yeah, it's pure vodka.
It's called a ditch out at back.
It's a bottle of Smirnoff, dude.
Hilarious,
Russia has a
dude.
vaccine that they're pushing through without adequate testing. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all doing that. Moderna's going to do the same thing. They've already put it out there that
Well-
they're going to forego testing.
For the record, I don't know what Russia's vaccine is, but I would guess probably not something you get infected in.
Say that again?
Probably other ways to solve their problem. Considering, like China coming out with a vaccine, it's like, you're gonna solve your problem. It's just not humane. I love that if you look on the world map, China just has no cases because they don't report, which is so funny.
No, did you see that other link
not
I put in there
true.
from New York City Council?
Or I'm on Google. Yeah, with the dude.
The New York City Council member.
Yeah, I saw it. Well,
So,
India
like,
does a
if it was your
shit.
family, if it was your family member, you'd be pretty happy.
I mean,
So maybe he's
would-
biased. I don't know.
well, the thing is, you would want to. If it was someone close to you, you can't look at it logically the same way, right? Where you're gonna try to
Right.
do everything in your power. But if it works in some cases and people want to try it, I mean, Who am I to stop someone?
Yeah,
I'd be
the same argument for drugs, isn't it? Like, hey, if somebody wants to smoke pot or do meth or crack, I guess if they're ruining their own life, then who are we to say? I guess it's sort of the same thing with HCQ, which is weird why they're putting statewide bans on that shit. I don't understand. If the doctor who's your doctor, he's going to prescribe it, why would a pharmacy intervene? That's weird to me.
Moral.
About money, brother.
But
Well,
if
I
it's
mean, I think-
morals, wouldn't the doctor be the one under the Hippocratic Oath to have a moral conflict, right? He'd be the one, not the pharmacist.
I'm saying that a pharmacist can still have a moral issue with it.
But if the doctor signed a script, like at what point did they take control over your medication? I guess I'm struggling with the logic in that. Not
I'm
that
just
I
saying
disagree,
you don't get to. I'm just saying like other people don't get to decide whether or not somebody's making a moral decision or not. That's for the moral agent to decide.
Right, but per the medical practice and tradition and common practice, the doctor prescribes based on his health decisions, right?
So-
he makes like a call, and then you take that script to the pharmacy, and the pharmacy's like, no, we can't do HCQ.
So what drug are we talking about that's being banned?
HCQ. No, it's not. So what happened was, listen, it's the pharmacies. There's a statewide, basically the government asked the pharmacies to hold on HCQ. Doctors will give scripts, they'll sign the script, and then they'll be denied the script at the window.
Well, part of the reason for this was the doctors have been overprescribing it like crazy, and then they've been hoarding it themselves.
So let me ask you a question, Dio. How come they're willing to do that now, but they didn't for the opioid crisis?
Well,
that's not relevant to this conversation.
No, I'm just asking. Yeah,
I can't tell you the intentions of other people.
Oh,
also, they do that now. There's like one famous doctor who still will prescribe a real pain medicine. There was like a Vice hit piece on him. Let me see if I can find it, like a video.
How many people die per year from opioids overdose?
A
Not
lot.
heroin itself, but yeah, I wonder if it's more than COVID.
700,000 per year? Probably
What?
not.
Less
Well,
than
that's
COVID.
the infection rate.
Oh, that's globally, or is that in the U.S.?
No, that's the infection rate for the U.S. I was
Oh,
just
okay,
looking at that, but it was the wrong map. I just thought about it. Rise, opioid. Yeah, here it is. If y'all want me to link it, I will. But there's hit pieces on like a single doctor who still prescribes opioid to pain patients.
I don't see a problem with it if it's prescribed correctly. But I just know that I had family members that got hooked on them after being prescribed them, and it took them a lot to get off them. They were older, right? So they kind of had pain all over, or at least they convinced themselves of it. So, opioids never work.
Okay. Alright. We only need 3 wins to hit legend. We're so close. Oh, this is a good matchup. Fuck yeah. I'm gonna get rid of that. That's better later. Yeah, I really, really like this matchup. He summons the dudes. Hopefully we get one of our board wipe cards soon. Oh, cool. We didn't pop the secret. That's pretty good.
Okay, Google. Set a timer for 20 minutes. Alright, 20 minutes. And we're starting now.
That's smart. Oh, jeez. So I think I smack him here and use this to pop that and hit him for 4. Oh gosh. Okay. We're still whittling them down. Holy shit. Oh, dope. Okay, this works out really well. That's what I like to see right there. I'll wait a turn before I play that secret. I'll go this way first. Hopefully just goes hard on me. Oh shit. He's gonna go after my minions instead, damn. Cool, so those go to my hand. I filled that board a little bit. Just a little bit. Yep. Even better. So this is dead. Beyond a doubt, that's dead. Hell yeah, at least he took 3. Hopefully he smacks me. Fuck. No such luck. Pass it over to him. He's so close to dead too. Oh my gosh. Damn. Hell yeah. Oh, he's being so careful. Yes, 14, 15, 16, 17. Still fairly safe here. Holy shit. I need an ice block super bad here. Holy fuck. Give me an ice block. Ice block. Fuck. Fuck. If he played a minion, we'd won. Damn. Alright.